Is the audio good? Yeah? Okay. Good. 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 Very good. All right. Matcher King with the $5. Thank you so much. That is very generous. Here's the deal. Behave yourselves in chat tonight. No more temporary timeouts. Okay, 24 hour. Well, that is temporary, but mods, just 24-hour anybody who is doing things I don't want. Because my chat. So, folks, we have a topic of great request, great suggestion to discuss. Whoa, I didn't mean to move my camera. We have a topic of great suggestion and great request to discuss tonight. Cameron F3 something something. This guy is a rising star. Okay, he got shouted out by Diorio, by H3H3 Productions. Essentially, he made a content cop kind of remake on iDubbbz, right? Kind of calling him out. I didn't watch any of it. I'm not going to watch any of it because I'm very lazy. I do as little preparation for my streams as possible. And in this content cop, essentially my understanding is he brought some of the criticisms against iDubbbz Ian that have kind of been reiterated by several people, kind of like criticizing him for the people he's adjacent to, like Frogan and Denims, and you know, the empathy stuff. I mean, that's my basic understanding. But that I don't really need an understanding of that to cover what I'm going to cover tonight, because he started to get popularity, and then just as he's getting popularity and people think he's like essentially positioned himself to replace iDubbbz, he's going to continue the Content Cop series. Some allegations drop against him, being spearheaded by a guy called FPS Diesel, who's been in the community for a very long time. I'm going to cover these allegations, my understanding going into this, and I have seen a few things relating to this subject, but my understanding is that this Cameron guy, there were some allegations while he was 19 years of age. He was with a 16-year-old, and some potential like forceful sexual advantages occurred, or advances occurred. And he also has a history working with Yandere Dev. That's a guy whose name I've heard for a very long time. I gained like a baseline understanding last night of like who he is. Apparently this Cameron guy was like his right-hand man and like a big defender of his. And that's no longer the case. But yeah, we're going to check out these allegations. We're going to figure out what's going on, and see if there's any merit to some of the claims that are here being made against him. So let's get into that. So we have this video here from FPS Diesel. Where is it? All right, here we go.
A year ago, I released a video titled The Fall of Yandere Dev, and that cataloged over 3 hours the grooming allegations regarding Yandere Dev, a disgraced game developer. The video would consume roughly 5 months of my life as I unraveled this ludicrous conspiracy of internet morons. For the uninitiated, the pitch starts like this. Yandere Dev, aka Alex Mahan, was starting a romantic relationship with someone who was 16 going on 17, Alex being 35 to 36 over the course of the story. This was horrific to find out, but it got even worse than that as everybody in this story was fumbling something. Everybody had their hand in the cookie jar. It was a fumble of epic proportions I have not ever seen since.
So the problem with this is, as well, you have, I've said this before, I'm reiterating it again for like the 18th time. I can't be bothered to like go into the lore of like your major lolcows, because there is just so much lore behind these people. I mean, FPS Diesel said it himself. It took him like 5 months to cover this, consume 5 months of his life. I just could not be bothered or have the patience to dedicate like 5 months of my life to like figuring out the inner workings of drama relating to your like people like Yandere Dev or Chris Chan, because it's just like you have like 800 part series on these people. I don't think we need like too big of an understanding of him though to assess the allegations that are being made against Cameron F305.
One of the people that was involved with this was a person by the name of Cameron F305, who many of you may have seen recently in a recent explosive video aping the content cop that he showed me right before it came out. So what happened in this ridiculous story? Why does it matter? And what happened since then, since some new stuff has happened? Let's save everyone that 3-hour video that I posted and give you the TLDW.
Thank you. He did this for people like me. Thank you so much. So based, because now I don't need to go and pull up the 800 layers of context. Very based.
And find out where these people are now. The hour is Dev, aka Alex. Dev, as I came to understand over the course of this ridiculous story, is a pathetic person. He's the archetypal incel, complete with poor opinions on sex and outburst of outrageous anger. For the uninitiated to his lore, it starts like this over 10 years ago. You see, a conversation bubbled up on 4chan's V, where a then much younger Yandere dev discussed the idea of a social stealth game with others online. That conversation would bubble into a game that would never release. It would bubble into Yandere Simulator. You see,
what a beautiful specimen of a man. What a beautiful specimen of a man we have right here. Just truly the alpha male. My only, like, whenever I think of this guy's name, I just remember, like, the cum chalice meme from, like, a few years ago, or whatever the fuck. And, I mean, just that alone, I'm like, God, I do not want to get into this guy's lore, if that's, like, my only, like, baseline understanding of, like, who this person is. But God, what an alpha male. What a giga chad, dude.
As Dev began his development, release dates were pushed back, almost in perpetuity. People began noticing how this guy would react to criticism and basically just freak out. The cracks were small at first, but over time, this would boil over into drama. Dev tried to stop the bleeding with an unhinged blog post, cataloging and addressing his various controversies. Now, what are these controversies and how long is the list? Well, it's pretty damn long, so let's include some famous ones that are actually on his debunk page, which is no longer up. Threatening suicide or trying to push others to suicide, a corporate fumbling from publisher TinyBuild that
How much money for you to, thank you so much for the $5. How much money for you to reenact the cum chalice meme? Well, considering I wouldn't want an image like that floating around to me on the internet for the rest of my life, you probably couldn't pay me to do something like that, but appreciated.
that cost Dev literally a blank check. His teenage web history, where he wrote vivid murder fantasies about his parents, and a Fallout fanfiction featuring rape, sex licenses, which the conversation's as bad as you think it is, weird dismissals of pedophilia. He's been accused of spending Patreon money on a life-size Samus Aran sex doll. Here's a post from that website.
What the
The
fuck?
Yandere Simulator game is an unoptimized, unfinished, buggy, and poorly programmed mess. And when questioned on it, he flips out. He's been accused of doing asset flips for Yandere Sim, or just stealing assets from online. The game has been called a self-insert fetish project. That one's probably the most true one on here if you've ever played the game. There is a toothbrush that kills the game's performance and crashes it. That video has a lot of views about a damn toothbrush in a video game that's not out. The history of Yandere Simulator is cataloged online by numerous people, including Yandere Simulator's own website, which features embellished retellings from Dev's perspective, which are ultimately him trying to just save his own ass. But believe it or not, none of these things were the killing blow, actually. It actually took a lot, and, you know, the guy's still trucking today. Now, the short version of the killing blow was that Yandere Dev came into contact with a girl named Jelly, who you might hear referred to as a bunch of other names, none of which are actually her name. Now, Jelly and Dev began talking online, and Jelly was a minor at the time, but Dev entertained talking to her anyway. His reasoning basically boils down to she's mature for her age.
Oh no, dude, I was waiting for that. I was just like sitting here in anticipation. What is this guy gonna say? Well, listen, you didn't speak to this 11-year-old, man. You didn't speak to this 11-year-old. You know, I know she's like a fetus, but like you haven't spoken to this fetus in particular. Very mature for their age. But yeah, I mean, what was the context of him talking to this person?
and she was 16 to 17 at the time of these events, and he was 35 going on 36. So you can imagine that this is not an appropriate relationship to have. Now, between my...
Did I miss it? Did Diesel... I kind of got sidetracked there for a sec. Did Diesel specify, like, the nature of these conversations? Were these conversations, like, sexual or romantic? Because, in theory, right, if there's, like, a mutual... I don't know, if you're, like, playing a game together or working on a project together, like, typically, if you're 35 years old, you should not be, like, talking to minors on the internet. It's just, like, a huge liability thing. But, like, there's nothing, like, inherently wrong with, like, talking. The thing is that talking romantic, sexual, or entertaining some sort of like inappropriate conversation. I'm assuming that that's what he meant. I might have like missed that part. He's gonna show it soon. Got it.
Myself and various other people involved in the story, there are quite literally hours of calls between him and Jelly. You can find all these online. The files were released by another YouTuber in the story named Ali. So how did this whole pedophile thing start? Right? For those of you unfamiliar with this drama, allow me to give you some clips of this cognito hazard. And of course, if you're watching this and you're a streamer or something, you've been warned.
Wait, have you guys seen this? Is this okay to play? I mean, if it's on YouTube, why wouldn't it be okay? Okay, you know what? Fuck it.
Put your hands on your hips.
Well, yeah, I mean, like that's like my seriousness stance. Like I'm
Oh, you're adorable. Mm-hmm.
okay.
What are you doing with your finger there?
I'm thinking. These are. Am I thinking?
You're so cute.
What? No, because like when you think and then your brain is working and you're.
I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. What the fuck? I'm like, okay, if you're like, I don't know, if you're like playing like a video game or like working on a project together, maybe like you could be like, you should avoid it, but if you're talking, it's not like a huge... Dude, I spoke way too soon.
You're so fucking cute.
What?
Pat.
And she has her camera on, I'm assuming, because that's why this is either it's being blurred to obscure the identity, or she has her camera. Yeah.
Pat.
Now, I mentioned the large-scale leaker is Ali, and I'll explain who she is in a moment. But Ali was holding on to all of this and assuming that Jelly was the world's most innocent girl the entire time. And Jelly was most certainly not. She's a victim.
Do my thinking... What is my thinking pose? What is my thinking... Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Dude, I need like a pipe. Indubitably. Cameras on? Yeah, that's what I was assuming. Yeah, that's totally fucked. That's totally fucked. 850%. Put this guy in a cage. Lock him up.
Victim, but she also is one of the most deeply disturbed people in this entire story. Jelly has a long history of posting pictures of her body on 4chan as a minor. She participated in Discord servers that provided rules on how to blackmail pedophiles for money, food, and games. She even tried to do that with Yandere Dev. Hell, the reality is, she...
And the unfortunate part is, she's not like the first minor I've heard about online that does this. In theory, I have absolutely no issue with somebody like I hear a lot of cases of people that are like extorting pedophiles, and it's like, do I really care about like the extortion in and of itself? And when you're doing like a pedo sting, the only good outcome is when you're getting this person in custody, because if you're not impeding them from then going back out and like further like victimizing minors. So these like pedo extortion shit it just seems like a very like selfish kind of way to engage. You're not preventing typically further harm to minors, and you're just getting some money out of it. But like the other thing too is that this person herself is a minor, and she's literally like actively victimizing herself in these cases. She's seeking, yes, sure, she's seeking it out, but she's a minor. She can't consent. So even if she's going and seeking it out, right? She's still like engaging in self-victimization. And in my opinion, if you're running a server that's like teaching people how to go find and extort pedophiles, and you know that you have minors in that server, you're just as bad as the pedophiles, because you're like essentially sending them to go do that, to go victimize themselves. You're facilitating like potential further victimization.
She probably did. She probably made off like gangbusters. Jelly is extremely antisocial in her behavior. She has had.
I mean, she doesn't care about turning the. Yeah, that's my point. Sure, it's like selfish reasons. Yeah, you're an accomplice.
Practice doing this, and Dev was not her first mark. Now, I should mention, Dev is the adult here, and he should be held accountable for his actions.
Sure.
Which is why, despite the deliberate, calculated, and malicious behavior of Jelly, the buck stops with Dev. Full stop. Jumping ahead a moment, though, this whole thing I had never had access to was this footage that I'm going to show you next, of Dev admitting the heinous activity that had just been alluded to this entire time. And so, again, cognito hazard.
Aiden, you were just jealous you haven't thought of it first, to be honest. It's so true. No, I literally met, it wasn't a friend, there was an acquaintance of mine, I think when I was like 16 or 17. He was an acquaintance of mine, and he was like 16, and he got into like a Discord call, and he was bragging about like how much bank he was making, like extorting pedophiles on Instagram. And then the Diney shit from a few months ago, I don't know if she was engaging in extortion, but she was then purposefully going out and seeking out pedophiles as a minor. And it's like, this is like, the 3 times isn't like a ton, but the fact that I've heard about something like this 3 times is like concerning, because this probably involves like hundreds of fucking minors thinking, I'm gonna go make the bag, and not realizing they're just like, they're entering the lion's den, they're victimizing themselves, and when they leave, they're not taking out the lion, so the lion's just gonna go back out and eat someone else. It's super degenerate. It's like, yeah.
Unless you want to think about the cum chalice guy jerking off.
Yeah, these conversations got out of control and I should have stopped them and I didn't. And, well, I wasn't going to mention that in the video. Yeah, okay, I saw a little bit more than I should have seen. Okay, timidly, pensively, and only like one time. There were 2 times I saw. There was only one time I implied I wanted to see it. When she said the conversation got sexual, what did that mean? Well, she said to me, hey, I'm really horny. Do you mind if I masturbate? And I said, okay. And then she just started. She was just moaning into the microphone, and then she finished like a minute later. She said it was my voice that did it for her. And another time, you know how like when you're having a conversation, it's just so easy to just give a reply without thinking, hey, wait a minute, this it's kind of inappropriate to say that to someone who's young. I didn't show her. She just said, how big is your dick? And I said, 8 inches. I never saved a single thing.
So,
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Someone was messaging. Hold on. I need to listen. Hold on. I need to listen back to someone.
There were 2 times I saw. There was only one time I implied I wanted to see it. When she said the conversation got sexual, what did that mean? Well, she said to me, hey, I'm really horny. Do you mind if I masturbate? And I said, okay. And then she just started. She was just moaning into the microphone, and then she finished like a minute later. She said it was my voice that did it for her. And another time, you know how like when you're
Okay, you're 35 years old. Okay, even if she's the one making the offer, that's your burden to get the fuck out of that call. You shouldn't be in that call to begin with. But like, even if you're not asking for it, and then she just it's your job to get out of there, because any minute you spend listening to that after she starts, you're actively complicit in this. I don't even believe that, but if I am to buy what I don't even believe his version of events, but if I am to go and buy that, you're still like just as culpable. Is this supposed to be like a defense?
having a conversation, it's just so easy to just give a reply without thinking, hey, wait a minute, this it's kind of inappropriate to say that to someone who's young. I didn't show her.
It's not that what? Huh? First of all, like as I said before, like at 35, you would avoid probably talking to minors at all. But if for whatever reason you were like in proximity or talking to one of them, this isn't something that passes your mind. If they start fucking masturbating or whatever the fuck, that's not something that like passes your mind. Like, oops, I mean, I was being absent-minded. I mean, unless you have like some sort of brain injury, that would go through your mind. You'd realize what's going on. This is really weird. Let me get the fuck out of here. Sardina with the $5. Is this a bad time to say that I passed my driver's test? Also, Dono goal up. Thank you so much, Sardina. Much appreciated. Very, very generous. And yeah, congratulations on passing your driver's test. Hopefully you were able to parallel park. Avoid all contact with underage individuals. Very true. Very true. Now, with that being said, I've said this before, there are conceivable scenarios where as an adult, you may be talking to an underage individual in like an appropriate context. Like, I don't know, if it's like a coworker, or whatever, but then you have to be like responsible. And this is not that case. This is online befriending this person, but then you have to be like responsible and like, you know, if the minor is then going and making like inappropriate advances, you pull yourself out of that situation. If you ever most people never find themselves in that situation, but unless they're seeking it out, which is why I don't really believe this guy's story. But if you do find yourself in like a situation like that, as the adult, you have the responsibility.
She just said, "How big is your dick?" And I said, 8 inches. I
Why
never
would-
saved a single thing.
So there it is. There's the admission from Dev that many people just were wishing to have for such a long time. In a recent call I had with a former confidant and collaborator of Dev's, Cameron F305.
How is it just like normal to you? You just like absent-mindedly respond when somebody's asking for your fucking dick size. Like, I feel like at that point you'd be, if you heard somebody masturbate in the call, there's no way you just don't think about that and that passes your mind. And then at that point, you'd be more than aware enough to pull yourself out. But if you haven't pulled yourself out of the call, when they ask you about your dick size, you don't just like absent-mindedly respond. It's not like a question like, how's the weather today? Or whatever the fuck. They're asking about your dick size. What is this story? That's such a bizarre response, such an incriminating response.
He revealed to me that these anonymous leaks were his. He provided them during a conversation he had with Reddit mods over a period of few days. Cameron is going to come back into this story in a little bit as well, but let's get through the rest of the characters in this story. So how'd all this stuff start? Well, it all starts with a simple expose video by a YouTuber called AliMCC. She now goes by Ali's son, and she published a video on Yandere Dev. Basically, over the course of 40 minutes, she relayed the story of Jelly, a minor, and things were messy and not really what Ali was putting out there. The story was a lot more complicated than what Ali wanted it to be. Ali was gathering these recordings of Dev by collaborating with the minor victim Jelly. As in, calls would happen and occur, and Jelly would live react to Ali in a group chat, and then would share the calls with Ali, and Ali would give notes and encourage further prodding for the good of victims everywhere.
What? Huh? What? Are you insane? First of all, that's like not your responsibility, right? If you suspect this person is doing inappropriate things with minors, it's not your job to set up a sting, especially if you don't know what you're doing. You should go to the police. But if you are stupid enough to go and do that, you don't use a real minor as your bait. Because at that point, it's not even like it's bait. You're actually facilitating a minor speaking with a predator. What? That would literally be like Chris Hansen, like sending actual like 10-year-olds into like the pedo sting house. What? Dude, this is like these people, sure, the intentions might be different from like the guy who's actually engaging in the predation, but you're just as bad. Okay? You're just as bad if you're knowingly sending a minor, facilitating a minor, going in there and like speaking to this person, knowing that they're a potential danger to children.
Yes, seriously. Ali held the insane contradictory position of Jelly, the minor, is a victim, but also is
But let me participate in her potential further victimization. What the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with this person? Oh my god. You're insane. You're just as bad as the fucking predator in this case.
A minor who can't consent and has it in her power to stop Dev anyway, despite the fact that she can't consent and shouldn't be here anyway. So literally, this minor is the only person that can stop Yandere Dev? Okay, so I obviously don't know what specifically happened with the feds, but at the time I found out about all of this, myself and my team got in contact with somebody at the FBI, at a local FBI office to where Jelly is located. There were multiple personal correspondence over the time period of this happening, an agent working on the case. Things dried up. You know, we had it all. We had a personal direct line to them, email.
Does the FBI? Okay, I don't want to. I'm not saying it's impossible. What Diesel's saying, you know, I don't dislike this guy. He's a good guy, but like I've heard people claim this before, and it was very dubious. I don't think the FBI, like on an active case, will like actively collaborate with like independent YouTubers. I could be off on that. Maybe there isn't an active case, but like maybe I don't know.
To share information. It was serious, but I think, in my personal opinion, that this victims crusade that Allie was doing over this period of time is exactly why this case went nowhere. They were having a minor basically try to sting Operation a pedophile. The entire time this was going on, by the way, as I would grill Allie refused to listen to me or cooperate at every turn. I would repeatedly tell her that Jelly is more than she lets on. But this lady wouldn't listen to me and would continue to do whatever the hell she felt like, ultimately making the situation worse for everybody.
All right. I'm going to drop the pretense here, right? Here's how it looks to me, right? To me, it kind of looks like you might have had an active hand in trying to entrap Yandere Dev using a real minor, right? I have a call that allegedly includes you, Krexa, and Jane, where Krexa is encouraging Jane to record these calls.
AIDS gang represent, okay?
Yo, thank you so much, G's for the $3. Did you see the cows on the highway? I did not. I'll go check that out later. Thank you so much.
Trying to get entrapping material on him. Any comment?
Well, I have been in deeper contact with Krexa. She has been wanting me to basically... She has some things she wants to get out about Cameron that I am still trying to look into and unsure if I'm going to pursue. That's not something that, you know, I really want to share with people because she also feels afraid. And again, I don't know like exactly how that's going to go or if I'm going to pursue it. So I'm not exactly planning to, you know, talk to people about that. Jane was interested in hearing Krexa's side of her story from when she was roommates with Cameron because Jane is still in contact with Cameron.
Wait, who is this? Okay, wait, who is this Krexa person? Am I missing some information? Who is this Krexa? Why is Ada not reading chat? Well, because half of chat is just like attempting to derail the stream, and like I'm gonna have to go self-moderate if I'm looking at chat actively. So please, like, just stick to the topic at hand. Instead of going and like asking me about like a million like unrelated things. But who is this Krexa person? What did I miss? What am I missing? Krexa is Cameron's roommate. So what involvement do they have in this situation? What involvement do they have? Krexa is 200 pounds. Thank you. That doesn't really explain how they're involved, but I appreciate having that information.
And supposedly, he's been doing some very not good things with Jane. And so I facilitated a call between Krexa and Jane. Krexa did, on her own, encourage Jane to record things. That's not something I was really supportive of. I was in the call just to listen, but not participate.
Okay, and is this okay? So, and is this Jane person the minor? Is this Jane person the minor that was supposed to be going into these calls? Because I heard that they're referred to by about 8 different names. Jane, Ann, and Joe. Okay, got it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Participating. I had my mic muted the entire time.
Okay, she also had a collaborator that isn't hugely important.
Who the fuck is that? What, we're getting like the autistic Avengers here. I'm getting introduced to such a strange cast of characters. Who is this person now? Why do they have animal ears on their head? What is going on? Huh? What the what is going on?
Important to this story. Allie was working with a person by the name of Decepticami, who produced a series of TikToks on Yandere.
Decepticami? Dude, what is going? Why is this such a weird like group of people? Decepticami. Okay, that's how your viewers look. Thank you.
Dev, and participated in these group chats. Kami basically didn't like that I called him unimportant. And this is the end of talking about Decepticami. He's still unimportant. You see, one of the things that happened.
Somebody with like half of, dude, I'm gonna sound like libs of TikTok here, but you mean to tell me that somebody with like half of their hair being pink, wearing animal ears, called Decepticami, is like a fucking narcissist that like crashes out when you say they're not important? Really? Who could have guessed? Who could have seen that one coming? Not me.
Happened over this drama is that every glup shitto I came across wanted a chance to whet their sword. For the sake of brevity, I'm not going to include every single stupid tangent. The Reddit mods of r/Osana played a minimal role, but
thank you for the $5. G's.
As I'll explain, in all my talks with the people they had, I also had talks with all those parties involved. Everybody involved in the story wanted to placate to a specific group, so as a result, the mods, myself, or anybody else looking into this basically got a different story depending on how good of a detective the people lying felt the person was. I'm just gonna be upfront. I'm presenting what I found. That's it. So if you like content like this, check me out on Patreon. Get exclusive access to the podcast.
Yeah, folks, I mean, I've been dead airing this whole video. Go sub to well, I'm not going to say that before I finish the video, actually. Because, like, what if he then goes, dude, what if, like, I go and endorse this guy, and then the end of the video is just, like, he just starts playing, like, the Nazi German, like, anthem. And he's, like, talking about, like, the Great Replacement. Okay, so maybe I'll just wait till the end before I endorse the video. But it's seems good so far.
I work on with the boys, or buy my coffee at Manipotion.
Thank you for the $2, Billy.
Coffee.com and get USDA organic fair trade coffee. We got tea as well, and I'm sure you'd like it because the people that I...
Dude, how many fucking brands this guy have? It's like, go buy me a coffee, go on my Patreon, buy my FPS Diesel branded underwear. For those of you that want an FPS Diesel pacemaker certified by the American Heart Association, you can go support that, and then the funding for that actually goes to my FPS Diesel space launch operation based out of California. Like, dude, how many bits of like merch does this guy fucking have? Holy shit, he's locked in. This guy's locked in.
Actually cover sometimes still say that my coffee is good. Even when I'm grilling them.
I've had your coffee, by the way. Good shit.
I did not know that. Okay.
You just...
Oh,
and
no.
by the way, I actually was...
I think that's Cameron, dude. Of the little clips I've heard, like, he'll consistently try to, like, suck up to and, like, placate Diesel throughout, like, the length of their conversations. And that's such, like, a... Like, dude, your coffee was really good. It's just like, okay. That's like the worst response you get. That's so fucking awkward.
Pretty impressed by... I'm like one of those guys that's in like to YouTuber products. Like I've tried the fucking quartering coffee.
Thank you for the $10, Puddle Sucker.
That shit was...
Thank you for the $5. Geez. Here's what we're probably gonna do. Appreciate all the donations as always. I'm not gonna so I don't keep pausing. I'm probably not gonna read out your dono the second I get it, but I see it, and then like when we come to a good like pause, I'll then go through and like read out your donations. But it's all like very much appreciated. Thank you guys so much for the support recently. Make sure to like, make sure to sub, join the Discord, join the Reddit. Unfortunately, we don't have our own coffee brand yet or our own pacemaker, but
that shit was like Chinese fucking bullshit. Okay, that like I actually was very impressed. I thought you were going to. I thought it was some drop shipping scheme. I'm not even gonna lie,
Mm.
and I wasn't gonna blame you for it because, like, hey man, I mean, we all gotta like hustle. But like, fuck, I was impressed. That's good shit, man.
I mean, I didn't know I wanted an endorsement from Cameron, but you know, I'm glad I got it. Am I right? So this video is primarily about Cameron. So let's uncover and go over how this all unravels. In 2023, Cameron tweeted vaguely about Dev's allegations. As I said, a year ago, the tweets are gone, but I very quickly...
Tanner with the $2. Opinions on Mexicans? I mean, I've given this opinion many times before. I am a big fan of Mexicans. Literally, unironically, half of my fan base is Mexican. We love Mexicans here. Great people. Not too big a fan of refried beans, but I like quesadillas. Mexicans stay winning.
Learned that this was a story that I needed to catalog everything in, so that would change very quickly. During our initial talks, Cameron basically...
Mexican flags in chat. Mexico #1. We will implement the plan of San Diego, folks. It's happening, whether they like it or not.
Brushed it off as false allegations. Dev had been on the receiving end of harassment the entirety of his lol cow status, and Cameron would become increasingly worried about this over time. But he was also never being fully honest with me because, well, he worked with Dev. Cameron did the music for Yandere Simulator, but Cameron's a lot more than that. Cameron was Yandere Dev's liaison to the outside internet, a young man who would, quote, look at things critically. He initially got me in contact with Dev a long time ago and vouched for me on our initial talks many, many years ago. Cameron would also be overly charitable and forgiving to Dev at every single situation.
And here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. My understanding is that, and I could be wrong, he might have been like 18 at this point in time. Me and Cameron are the same age. And my understanding is, at this point in time, he was a minor himself. So I'm going to be a minor himself when he was like playing defense for this guy. I could be off on that, but I'm going to be like a little bit charitable in that regard, like if he was like stupidly like or blindly supporting this guy. Yeah, I mean, it's like super cringe. Good criticism against him there, but that doesn't mean like I heard somebody say like with that in his history, he can't be the next content cop. That in isolation, we haven't gotten into the rest of the allegations yet, but that facet in isolation, I think, can be forgiven, moved on from. The problem is what else is there about this guy?
In turn, anyone who's followed this drama
He's probably
for
17 to okay, yeah, that's I mean, still like very young.
a long time can tell you that Cameron was seen as the guy who would get in the trenches with people online and get his hands dirty for Dev. He would fight his battles for him. Make no qualms about it, the guy did a lot more than work for Yandere Dev. He was his closest friend and confidant. He's the reason I saw Yandere Dev's apology early, and Cameron was an active participant from day one in all of these grooming allegations. For example, in my initial calls with the involved parties, I would bring up Ali's evidence, and Cam would be present in these calls where I'm talking with Yandere Dev, Cameron, and myself. Cameron would occasionally chime in with his 2 cents, and occasionally he would even be critical, and I'll give him that. Other times he'd try and downplay what we were reading. And what I was reading out and showing to them is absolutely outrageous, so let me read some Snapchats between Dev and this minor he was grooming. Yandere Dev, I think about that sometimes.
Yeah, and then even if we're not taking the statements we've heard this guy made, I've said there are contexts where like you could just be talking to a minor as an adult in like in a coworker context, etc., but having a minor added on Snapchat, like if we're not even taking the insane comments, if we just forget about those here for a sec, having a minor added on Snapchat as an adult is like with the implications of Snapchat is like super inappropriate. I think about sometimes 17 is 94.4% of 18. So therefore, being attracted to a 17-year-old girl is 94.4% okay. Why would you ever share a thought like that, right? But the other thing too is, it's not just like you're having like an attraction, right? You're acting on that. You know this person's a minor. You're acting on that. And you know they're 17. It's not like you like saw someone that looked indistinguishable from an 18-year-old and you're like, oh, this person's attractive, or whatever the fuck. You know this person's a minor. You're engaging with them, and you're acting on this attraction.
17 is 94.4% of 18, so therefore being attracted to a 17-year-old girl is 94.4% okay. Later in the chat...
Jeez with the $5. Coal miners are not on Snapchat? True. He makes a good point.
Yandere Dev says, quote, so really the only thing for me to get out of this are lewd pictures and videos to fap to, end quote. To which the minor, Jelly, responds, quote, which I'll provide you if you promise to keep it secret. Yandere Dev responds, oh, heart emoticon. I would keep it a secret, heart emoticon.
Oh my god.
I will say,
lock this guy up, dude. Why is this guy... The fact that, like, the people that are handling this are trying to extort him and using, like, real fucking, are trying to extort him and using, like, real minors as bait, like, just destroys the potential for, like, a case. This guy needs to fucking be locked up, bro.
the words lewd pictures
It's so gross.
does not specifically
Put this lunatic in a fucking cage. Okay? Why do I have to hear about this like secondhand from like these like weird like gay op excursions people are like going into to expose him? The only time I want to be reading about a situation like this is this guy getting like 25 years in fucking prison. Why is this guy on the streets? Why is this man free? Lock him up in a cage, throw away the key. I mean, what are we doing here, folks?
apply. Because one thing I will say is like hentai is a thing. I'm not trying to like go like crazy here, but it's like that's like not uncommon and like I guess Discord communities to like share like NSFW artwork.
Yeah, but you're still not supposed to share it with a minor.
Wait, did I hold on. Wait, did I misinterpret this? Is this this is Yandere Dev in communication with the minor? This is Yandere Dev in communication with the minor? Or is this Cameron? Okay, got it. Because it was Cameron, I'm like, okay, that's a little bit harsh. That's actually, like, he's 18 at this point. That's actually, I shouldn't have said that, right? Hold on. Okay, got it. Thanks. Now this is Cameron. Got it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Yandere Dev's the 35-year-old. Cameron is, like, the 18-year-old at the time that was, like, defending him. And the guy who's recently blown up for his, like, wannabe content cop video.
Hentai is a thing. I'm not trying to, like, go, like, crazy here, but it's, like, that's, like, not uncommon. And, like, I guess Discord communities to, like, share, like, NSFW artwork.
Yeah, but you're still not supposed to share it with a minor. You can get him.
I wouldn't really want to do that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that's what he was doing. I'm saying that's what she was, she could have been offering, and that's kind of how it comes off, because let's be real.
So this is Cameron trying to run defense for Yandere Dev. How old is he at this point in time? If the girl is 17 to 18 in the course of these conversations, then how old would Cameron be right now? Because if he himself is like very young, it's reasonable, or it wouldn't be like super far off to suggest he could have been manipulated as well. But I'm not buying that. I don't know why he's playing defense here, but like this is like really fucking cringe. Yeah, I mean, I take it back. I didn't realize like how far he was playing for defense for this guy. It is very hard to like position yourself as like the new content cop when there's like clips of you like playing defense for this kind of shit. She was 15 to 16. Okay, got it. Yandere Dev was predating on him too. Well, he's 18 in this clip, right? But he could have also been manipulated or whatever the fuck. But yeah, this is just like this yikes for me. You're fucking. I hate saying that you're like running defense for this.
You're out there sending like, I don't think you're commonly out there on the market sending and receiving and trading nude pictures with people there. I think you're working on a video game. So I guess I'm trying to understand your interpretation of that message.
And that isn't even a clip, Chimp. I'll provide the calls for you all to go through.
Wait, hold on. Is he saying that because they're working on a video game together, like the notion of them exchanging nudes is implausible? Is that what he's trying to say here? Is that actually, like, did I just told there's no shot? Is that, like, am I just misinterpreting this? Like, how do you say something like that in your head and not realize, like, how stupid that fucking sounds? Yeah? Dude, that's insane. That is an insane clip.
Yourself if you don't want to sit here and listen to me talk. All right? The guy was the go-between for Yandere Dev, pitching me on watching the response from Dev on stream later on in one of our talks.
I know that even if he does an interview that makes him look bad, it'll still help his image.
AIDS gang represent, okay?
Yo, thank you so much for the $10, Anonymous. One of your mods banned me, but Aiden, do you think this is going to have a negative effect on the Bears this season? Not sure. Yeah, we're being a bit more strict with chat because a lot of people are, like, trying to derail, and I'm trying to get through one segment without there being, like, derails, so I've just instructed mods to be fairly harsh tonight. So it's nothing personal, but if you just, like, are trying to be, like, off topic, you're probably gonna get 24-hour. Nothing personal, but I appreciate the $10. Thank you so much.
This rate. Because if you think about it, like, he just needs transparency. I don't, and I think that would be great for your channel as well. It'd be a great look for you because, I mean, just the integrity, you know? So I've always wanted something like that to happen. And even though I'm no longer associated with the project, I think it just would be beneficial and quite frankly retarded of him not to do.
All right. Well, I'm gonna need to cover this at the end of the month. So if something changes.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're as impartial as you've been with us, I'm fine if you get critical.
So at this point, I'm trying to assess, what is Cameron's motive? Because my understanding is Cameron is somebody that obviously wants to be big. He wants to be famous in this space. Yandere Dev has been like a lull. Me and Cameron are actually, like, in our history, we're not that different. We both started doing this, which you shouldn't. And by this, I mean, like, YouTube stuff. When we were, like, around the same age. We are the same age. And when I reached out to Cameron for an interview, he's actually known who I am since, like, 2017. He's been following me. But so now I'm trying to sit here and think, what is Cameron's motive for running defense? And is he trying to benefit from Yandere Dev? But Yandere Dev is like a lolcow. So what is Cameron gonna get out of defending and being friends with Yandere Dev? Like, what would be, like, the possible motives? Because I have a hard time believing someone who is 18 years old is actually, like, believing the defenses that Cameron is giving on Yandere Dev's behalf. I have a very hard time believing that's, like, a genuine belief of his, that he's just, like, spouting with no other, like, ulterior motive. He could genuinely believe what he's saying, and if that's true, he's either been manipulated like a fuck ton, or he's a moron. There's a lot of stupid people, Aiden. I get, okay. News to me, buddy. News to me, okay? News to me. I thought a bunch of 150 IQ geniuses gave Trump the popular vote. My bad. Sorry. I didn't realize. Thank you for informing me.
As long as you don't do some funny shit.
No, I'm not gonna, like, I don't know, turn him into a soy jack or something if that's what you're worried about.
I mean,
But
I've been able to enjoy a couple of Yandere Dev memes after this.
But
I've enjoyed my Dota.
yeah, get the.
Listen, there's literally hours of calls between Dev, Cameron, and myself. Admittedly, I played nice to get them to open up. But make no qualms about it, I am not a fan of any of these people. Right? There are hours of content here, and I have a huge...
Keep crying. Daddy Trump owns you, libtard. Your family are literally Mexican immigrants. Your family are literally Mexican immigrants, and that's what you take issue with? That I made kind of offhanded comment about Trump. Wow, Toki.
Doc linked below in case you're more of a reader. I just want the information to be out there, and I want to be transparent about what I did. I basically lied to get these people to open up to me. Yeah, I did. I lied to them to get them to be my friend. Whatever, I don't care. Yandere Dev is a piece of shit. Needless to say, back
189 pounds from I don't care. Disgusting shirt you have on, Aiden. It's just like a plain black huh? It's just like a plain black shirt. I don't what is disgusting about this shirt? It's literally just a plain black shirt.
back to Cameron.
I've stopped wearing anything that isn't like as neutral as possible on stream because you'll take issue with it, okay? It's like, you know who you're like? You ever seen The Devil Wears Prada? You're like, what's her fucking name? You're like my chat. Whenever I come on stream, whatever I'm wearing, my chat becomes like Miranda from The Devil Wears Prada. They're just always like it's fucking Paris Fashion Week when I come on stream. They're like criticizing every article of clothing I have on. So I've resorted to wearing a fucking plain black t-shirt just to satisfy you people, and it's still not good enough. The next stream, I'm just gonna show up naked, okay? That's what I'm gonna do the next stream.
Cameron was quite involved, and he would piecemeal information to me as he did his little detective work as well. And the information he would piecemeal to me did direct me at certain players in the story, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a deliberate piecemealing of information. Now, at the end of September, he had left the Yandere Simulator project, right? And he didn't hear about this CSAM stuff until early October from Dev. So he tells me these things about how bad and dangerous Jelly is at the time, though he may have known it earlier in September, right? It really depends, and it's hard to know what exactly happened in those calls that I wasn't present for. Either way, in early October, I was put on to finding out about how Jelly was involved in all of these honeypotting for blackmail money operations. The problem is now that I have to re-look at this information...
Alright, sorry, just a quick refresher. So Jelly is the miner. Jelly's the miner, not the streamer that was getting the miner to go and talk to Yandere Dev. Jelly's the miner. Okay, okay. Got it. I'm sorry, it takes me a minute, especially when there's somebody that's going by like 16 different fucking names online. It's my bad. Did you get monetized? Yes, actually, yep. I did. I did get monetized. No, Jelly is the streamer. Hey, I am paying attention. I'm gonna start taking notes. How about that? Jelly isn't that Jelly Roll? Have you seen the Jelly Honeypot infographic yet? No, send it. Memberships one soon. Okay, so Jelly's the miner. Got it.
Lying and piecemealing of info makes this very difficult to parse, especially with some new information that has come into my lap. Cameron even admits in a call with me that he was afraid to be honest with me because of the level of respect he places on me. Which doesn't help any of this whatsoever, because now I have to look at everything Cameron has sent me with a great...
he sounds like a total, like, brown noser, bro. In like, the clips I've heard of him talking to Diesel, it just constantly sounds like he's kissing his ass. I don't know why. I think it's maybe he's, like, worried Diesel's gonna, like, out something about him. I'm not sure. But, like, he's complimenting I like your coffee. Dude, it's crazy.
Grain of salt, thinking about what are ulterior motives that this guy could have. Now, Cameron tells me in a recent call that when he had heard those CSAM and masturbation clips, that he had sent it to the police. But I really don't know if he's telling the truth. He needs to prove it because I did my work. Dev, Ali, Cameron, all of them gave different conflicting stories. Not once, not until after the dust has settled, does Cameron seem to have these outrageously incriminating clips of Dev. Not until he makes a ceasefire with the Reddit mods on r/Osana. Okay, so let me...
A ceasefire with Reddit mods? That's like the most stupid statement I've ever heard. They signed it... Dude, okay, I'm sure he's being like it's a metaphor, but can you imagine... Like he actually it's like the fucking the French like boxcar treaty or whatever. They actually sign like a ceasefire to agree to stop attacking each other.
Let me tell you how I look at this information coming out after everything, right? So either Cameron knowingly withheld this information till an opportune time presented itself, or he sent it to the cops once he learned about it, and then, regardless, still met up with the minor that was being groomed, which would only complicate a federal case anyway, so it doesn't really help whether or not he sent it to the police because he was so involved. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Yes,
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point, right? That's a big problem with like amateurs trying to bust pedos online. They don't understand like chain of custody. They don't understand like how evidence can be refuted in court. They don't know like what they're doing. And yeah, that is a good point. But just to be charitable to Cameron here, right? When you're like, he's still young. He might have legally been an adult at that point, but he is still young, and a lot of adults don't get this shit right. So, and he is an adult actually, but like he's like a super young adult. I'm not like gonna be like super hard on that point, right? I'm not gonna be like, wow, you were too personally involved in relation to the evidence you submitted. You don't understand like the nuance of like court cases and like investigations. I'll be charitable in that regard.
Cameron met up with the minor, Jelly, in question. All of this suspicion, by the way, is compounded by Cameron having been an active participant in the Yandere Dev drama for about 5 years or so. Now, Cameron, as a teenager, was accused of doctoring screenshots and old dramas, running defense for Yandere Dev, sometimes regarding people who Dev threatened or bullied for their mental health. As a teenager, he'd insert himself in overly complicated pedophile dramas, not once, but twice. Once regarding a person called Sisef, who accused Dev of grooming her while Cameron ran defense in a video. Cameron's opinions on this have changed, though, from our conversations. He was also involved having conversations about Dr. Apis. This is another person that is just completely deplorable, right? But the way that Cameron works is if a position is completely untenable, Cameron will cave. But he'll sure as hell take the long way around to get there. Now, admittedly, he was a teenager when most of that stuff happened.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like these things, like he was super young when this was going on. He could have just been like a stupid kid. I wasn't doing anything as bad as this when I was a kid, running defense for people like Yandere Dev, but I can see how somebody who's maybe like more ignorant could be like put into a position like that for various reasons. So I'm not gonna be like super hard on the fact that when he was younger, he was running defense for this guy.
But the problem is that this continues till adulthood, and frankly, in my opinion, it's a pattern. Okay, so withholding
that would be the point you hammer him on, that he's continuing the behavior.
The CSAM masturbation clip is bad enough.
So his opinion changed, but well, let's just watch. It's not, there's more criticism to this Cameron guy that we're going to get into. I'm just trying to play, not devil's advocate, I'm trying to give him, like, there's certain points that I think he could be given a little bit of charity on. But there are other points that are like kind of more of a slam dunk. We'll get to those.
So let's talk about him going to see Jelly the minor, because that doesn't make him sound any better either. Cameron told me that during the Thanksgiving break, he drove up to see family and that Jelly was close by. So he admits he wants to get to the bottom of this and do a documentary. At the time, he knew of all of the extortion, the honeypotting, and the grooming. He also knew that this might have been trained into her by her mother. The reality is we don't really know what's going on there, but either way, he knew about those things. He knew that Dev received things from Jelly, according to him, based on the timeline of when he would have had those CSAM and masturbation clips. And then, well, then he tells me this.
Okay, so when you say it was kind of like a situationship fling thing, I understand it's personal, but what did you do with her exactly?
I don't think. Well, first of all, I know she said I like raped her or some shit. That's not true.
You didn't have sex?
I think me choosing not to answer should be an answer for you.
Oh, that's a yes. My understanding is he's now denying that they had sex. That's a yes. Okay. There's no world where you don't interpret that as a yes. He's trying to plausible deniability, but like he was hesitating there. They obviously had sex. Okay, like they very obviously had sex. Now, my understanding is she's 16, he's 19. would I, you know, I was 19 like what month are we in? We're in May now. 2 months ago I was 19. Would I ever consider doing anything with a 16-year-old? No, not at all. Okay, because they're still in fucking high school, immature, etc., etc. But if there was another 19-year-old that is with a 16-year-old, I don't think that they're a pedophile. It's just like it should be frowned upon and be like something you should look back on and cringe about. But I don't think you're a pedophile. The problem that we have here now is that there are allegations of rape, like forceful rape, involved, and that's the thing that I want to like focus on and get to the bottom of here.
So that's a yes?
Yes, we did.
Uh-huh.
Not that we didn't, when we first met, that didn't happen. The second time we met, it like kind of just, after like talking a shit ton, it kind of just went there. But we wanted to keep it private because we didn't want people thinking some weird shit between, like, that Alex had any involvement in it, because he didn't. Like, my interview with her was very anti-Alex. I can show you that.
Now, that's what
So he's meeting up with her. So he's running defense for Yandere Dev. Then he goes and meets up with the girl that was like the victim of Yandere Dev to interview her now that he's like anti Yandere Dev. I feel like I feel like he was linking up with, it's a feeling, I have no proof of it. I feel like he was linking up with the intention of fuck if he ended up going there and fucking anyway. Right? That sounds like a excuse. He interviewed her about her grooming and then slept with her. Well, he didn't answer yes, but he essentially answered yes to like the notion that he slept with her. But we're now dealing with like allegations of rape. So
he told me back when I was looking into this initially, right? Now, when we call recently, he adds on to tell me that he vented to her emotionally about topics he would not be discussing with a minor. He should not have been discussing the things that he was discussing with me with her. Now, I'd love to tell you what Cameron told this minor, but when Cameron told me about the thing, he said that he'd put a bullet in his head if I told the internet that thing. But I can certainly tell you, I wouldn't talk about it at a youth group.
All right, Cameron just sent me a message. I'll make one comment while watching your stream. The time of these calls were before all information had surfaced. I wasn't entirely sure of Yandere Dev's guilt, and I was being manipulated and lied to. In regards to his defense of Yandere Dev, I can totally like believe that, right? I'm not going to be super hard on the fact that when he was young, he was running defense for Yandere Dev. That's not really what I'm interested in here, like at all. I'm interested in like the stuff with this girl and whether or not there was like potentially an act of rape. So I can believe that, right? I even said that before he messaged me that. But yeah, Cameron is apparently watching. I said to you before, if you'd like to come on, you're welcome to call in. I'm willing to be, if my coverage says anything, you know, I'm willing to hear you out, and I'm pretty neutral on this one.
I'm not
so far.
Putting it out there. It's again kind of on Cameron, but it is bad.
So over that time, you're bonding with her and you tell her, you know, this horrible thing happened to me.
Yeah.
Well, why did you tell her that? Just because you felt comfortable?
Well, we were both.
He was 17 to 18. You can absolutely be young and dumb at 17 to 18. Would I be like that? No. Right? No. I think that, like, sure, since I'm a little egotistical, I think I was, like, at 18, I had like, experienced, I had experiences, in life, and I had, like, I was a bit more, mature and cautious, I think, than, like, your average 18-year-old would be, but I can totally see somebody at 18 being like young and dumb and being manipulated by something like that, especially if you're like super terminally online or whatever.
Both talking about, you know, these like situations because we had both just gotten out of that crazy situation, right? And then she was telling me about, you know, things that happened to her, and there was this one specific instance that I was like, damn, that's a hard relate.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of pried a little bit, and it took a while, but then like we just got into a really emotional conversation. But yeah, it it just kind of came out there. We were both venting to one another.
So originally when I pressed Cameron on this, he tells me that they have sex, a heat of the moment thing, right? Yes, not only does he just meet up with the minor, he hooks up with her, okay?
Why would you sleep with Anne, dude?
Okay, I gotta be honest, I don't like how Diesel's wording this. He keeps emphasizing the minor. It's a less than 3-year age gap. Or 3 years or less, I think, right? Maybe it's a little more than 3 years. Okay, it's about 3. We'll say 3 years, right? When you keep emphasizing the minor, and I don't know if he's been super clear about how old Cameron was at the time, people are going to be like focusing in a lot on the age gap. The age gap is not the part of this that I'm super focused on. It's 3 years, albeit a 3 years that I wouldn't go for because it's 19 and 16, right? There's still a pretty big maturity gap there, but 3 years nonetheless. The allegation that is of concern is the notion that he engaged in non-consensual acts, sexual acts with her, right?
It wasn't smart, obviously, but it wasn't.
Does he know he's being recorded? I think I don't know if he knows at the start, but I think at one point he just outright asks, and Diesel says to him, "Yeah, I'm recording you."
It wasn't planned. Like, I didn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like a heat of the moment thing. Me and her were kind of going really deep on this shit that we were dealing with at that point in time, and I don't know. I guess something just clicked.
Were you guys ever flirty before you met in November?
No.
No? Yeah, because that stream you guys did together, I'm like, kind of looks like they got some romantic chemistry.
You think so? Because we weren't, like, at that point, she had attempted to flirt with me beforehand, but I hadn't.
Also, the impression I get here is I definitely think, and I'm willing to admit I'm wrong on this, right? This is just like a very intuitive read. I definitely think the whole point of him meeting with her was due to romantic interest. Okay, I think that was probably the point of them meeting. There was probably romantic interest at this point. For whatever reason, he's like embarrassed to admit it. I think he seems like a very nervous individual that is like trying not to give anyone anything that he thinks is gonna like be used to like expose him. And when you're like getting attention for the first time or whatever, and you're relatively young online, you may be cautious and paranoid, but I think that there was more romantic stuff at this point in time than maybe he's willing to admit.
Reciprocated in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, it was nothing I was ever planning. I was pissed at her. She is funny to be around, though, and that's what I liked about her. I was definitely becoming a friend, a good friend of hers.
So this heat of the moment passionate sex happens, and then, not but days later, Jelly accuses him of rape. Then she walks it back, and she lies some more, and lies, frankly, a lot. And to add even more complexity to this, right? It's a year later, and
yeah. Also, what I've gauged is this Jelly person is an incredibly unreliable narrator. But the thing to me that was like a red flag is a conversation I heard between the two of them with how Cameron was responding to certain questions being asked. I found that to be very like suspicious. It's not like a definitive factor of guilt. I just thought it was like a little suspicious. So even if she thought it was rape and then didn't think it was rape, or she was outright lying, that's not really what I'm going to use to assess how culpable he is. Because the way he responds to like statements of like objective fact that she made, like I was hitting you or saying no or whatever, and like another recording were were strange to me, right? We'll get into that recording though later on.
iDubbbz Content Cop is coming out, and Cameron calls me up and he says, actually, Diesel, just so you know, I actually never had sex with her. I was being blackmailed to say that because if I didn't, she'd tell everyone my top secret thing.
Yeah, this is what I get, right? He's nervous. He probably realizes that he's about to get, at least, or he's going into this. When you make a video like the one he made, you're going into it with the hope of getting traction, especially with all the discourse surrounding iDubbbz. He probably thinks this is going to be a video that's going to blow up, and it did. And he's now doing, precautionary measures to make sure that like this stuff doesn't come out in the midst of his blow up that would like sabotage that or interfere with that. So he's kind of like doing some like nervous sweeping or like attempting to, control that narrative.
That I'd kill myself over. Anyway, here's the top secret thing with her. I was being blackmailed to say that because if I actually never had sex with her. I was being blackmailed to say that because if I didn't, she'd tell everyone my top secret thing that I'd kill myself over. Anyway, here's the top secret thing I'd kill myself.
That's the also huge red flag for me. Okay, so like the admission that they had sex, he's now claiming that they didn't. And apparently, the admission of sex was made, and the suspicious call I heard between the two of them, this was all made allegedly like under duress because he was being blackmailed with some sort of private, embarrassing information, right? But typically, when you're talking about blackmail, you're using that to get someone to do something for you that would involve maybe like money or there are other things you could blackmail people to do. But I don't understand like the point of blackmailing to get more blackmail. Like, hey, I'm going to release this embarrassing information about you unless you give me some embarrassing information about you to go release. Like, the fear of I don't know what she has on him, but like the fear of embarrassment over that information was apparently so significant that he was willing to embarrass him. I don't get it. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me.
Over. I'm not going to tell you in detail, but please don't tell anyone because then I'll kill myself. Okay, so get this. You said you had sex with an underage grooming victim of your...
Okay, Diesel, come on, man. Come on, bro. He's putting emphasis on certain words that are framing it like it's a pedophile-like thing. It's not, okay? If he's 19 and she's 16 and they fucked, just own it, okay? Just own it, but it's not like a pedophile thing. It's just like kind of cringe, okay? It's kind of cringe and frowned upon. But like an underage grooming victim, if there was a consensual act of sex between the two of them, and if I remember correctly, they're like legally that would have been okay in the state they were in, but that's not really, I'm more thinking about it morally. That wouldn't be like the huge deal here. The huge deal would be the allegation of rape. But Diesel and some other people seem to be really emphasizing that there's something condemnable about the notion that the two of them had sex at all. No, the problem is that this sex was supposedly non-consensual.
Former boss, so your family wouldn't hear about this deep, dark secret. Okay, all right. Which, by the way, if I was in the world's worst saw chamber and I'd had to choose between the grooming victim thing and the secret, I would rather the world know about my secrets than the grooming victim.
And keep in mind, Diesel knows what the secret is. So Diesel can assess, like, how embarrassing it is. And that's what I'm saying, like this other potentially embarrassing information being out about you, like, why would you... How bad would the blackmail info be for you to be willing to embarrass yourself in this other scenario? And apparently Diesel doesn't think that the embarrassing info that got him to make this supposedly false admission is like that bad relative to the false admission in and of itself.
Okay. Now, back when this originally happened, when Cameron told me that they had sex, not but a week later, Jelly says he raped me, and then being there accuses Cameron of things and instantly walks them back, right? It's going back and forth and the lies are flowing like a river. Then in the mid...
And that doesn't, by the way, that doesn't mean her story is like, she's relatively young, right? That just because she's recanting or whatever, she is an unreliable narrator. But it doesn't mean off the bat, I'm just gonna, her recanting it, I'm gonna say, okay, guess it never happened, or whatever. It's not that uncommon for people who were actually victimized in some way to go and recant what occurred. They doubt themselves, or they feel guilty. There's like various reasons somebody might recant. So her recanting in and of itself is not like case closed for me or whatever. I think you all know that, but I just thought I needed to like go and specify that.
Of being accused, Cameron comes to me and says, "Don't cover Jelly," as if that's at all possible.
She's coming up in the video. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no way.
I'm gonna request you don't mention me and her with the honeypot stuff. I don't want anything I've ever sent you used about that.
This is and what I think this is Cameron at this point in time is probably working on the content cop. He knows this is gonna be like his big claim, to fame or whatever the fuck, and he doesn't want this to be something that's gonna be dug up to be used against him and potentially inhibit or his rise or embarrass him. So he is like desperately trying to get Diesel to not include his name because he thinks it's going to reflect, and it will, right? But he thinks it's going to reflect badly on him. So he's attempting to stop that from being covered. Which, to be honest, it's like a Streisand effect thing. It's just going to make it worse.
No matter what, because it's just, I don't think it's cool.
You know, that's a crime, right? Now, there is an actual reasonable argument.
Chat is 50% blue Chat is 50% blue names. Yeah, I might take some people's mod, not because you're a bad mod, but we just like have way too many. So I've modded like literally everybody in the fucking chat. Hold on. Do we even have anybody that's still in chat? Nightbot, my most loyal viewer, Nightbot. Thank you so much for watching, bud. Mexican flags in chat if you're still here. Mexican flags in chat if you're still here. Well, I just want to play that part back again.
Anything I've ever sent you used about that. No matter what, because it's just, I don't think it's cool.
You know, that's a crime, right? Now, there is
the honeypot stuff. I think they're talking about like the pedo extortion. Got it.
Is an actual reasonable argument for why you wouldn't cover Jelly, right? Now, the reason I covered Jelly is because she played a role in everyone's story. She allegedly taught other minors to allegedly groom pedophiles, and frankly, the case was fumbled from the moment I got there, right? Allie inserting herself and coaching a minor, this minor lying to everybody and being really good at it. And there was just no way that I could tell this story without saying that, yes, there is this person named Jelly and she did these things and she's probably fucking crazy.
Yeah, and you don't have any responsibility, like if you want to have any like integrity in your reporting, right? You don't have any responsibility to like omit this information when it's like super relevant to the story. I can understand from Cameron's perspective, somebody who's never really been big before, why he might be panicking and like asking for this. But yeah, like Diesel made the right call by not like omitting this information from the story itself. All right, I'm taking some mods. You'll get your mod back. I'm writing them down. You'll get your mod back at the end of the stream, by the way. I'm just taking some wrenches.
Easy. Now, Cameron also admits to having sex in Discord calls with me multiple times back when this happened. In fact, he also comes on stream with me and beats around a bush about this, playing coy as I'm reacting to his response and really not buying some of the things that he said in it.
So maybe I'm being charitable here, but the argument is you're 19, she's 16. For some people, they say that's just, I know she's 17 now. Wouldn't you have sex with her?
I'm not going to say whether or not.
That's not the angle. The angle is that there's an allegation of a forced act of sex or kissing or whatever the fuck. There was an allegation that like for 5 minutes he was trying to kiss her or whatever while she was trying to push him off or say no. And then there was another allegation of like forcible sex that started out consensually and then she retracted the consent and he allegedly didn't stop. So we'll get into that. But Diesel and some other people are like so like mind fucked by the less than 3-year age gap that they're like focusing on that as if that's like the major problem here. That's not the major problem here. The major problem here is that there's potentially there's an allegation of forcible rape.
Oh, really? Are you fucking stupid?
No, Cameron.
You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You said to me, by the way, you watched the video. You said to me in the call that you were traveling to see family for Thanksgiving.
It was AI.
It was AI. Are you really going to be stupid on stream right now? Because
he's nervous. He doesn't know what to say. He's live. He's nervous. He doesn't know what to say. I'm not sweeping for Cameron, by the way. I think that there are some really suspicious aspects to this. I think he is being dishonest in certain aspects. I'm just giving you like an understanding.
This is not going to be a good look.
It was a robot.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. He's doing it on purpose.
I'm working on my video right now, and I'm in a really goofy mood. So this is Cameron, you're being accused of a felony, okay? And now here you are talking to me about this on a stream with like 100 people. I didn't know this was gonna be a stream.
He's nervous. He's nervous. You could tell he's nervous. People do this kind of. What would be a good example? A good example would be like Glue. Glue does this exact same thing. If I'm confronting Glue, knowing he did something that he's now embarrassed about, like he had a crash out moment, he does this exact same thing when I'm talking to him. It's like a nervous response. You're not gonna sit there and start crying on stream or admitting or admitting like you're nervous or whatever the fuck. So this is like a kind of a nervous response.
I didn't realize you were streaming.
Did you or did you not watch the video?
I did watch the video. I watched the relevant parts for me. I had to skim through it a little bit.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
And Chad is like really stupid. They can't tell what he's doing. This dude is high. He must be high. He's not high. It's very obvious what he's doing here. Like,
I watched the relevant parts.
Cameron, you can sit here and not talk about, right? For people,
there needs to be an IQ requirement for like YouTube chats. There just needs to be.
I was gonna say earlier, 4 people involved in this, they feel that a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old, which you say she turns 17 in February, which means when you had sex with her, she was 16.
Allegedly.
Allegedly? So now you're just saying her age is just a complete fabrication?
No.
That's it? No?
No, I'm not saying her age is a fabrication.
That you hooked up is an allegation. That's an allegation that came from your mouth.
The idea that I raped her is an allegation.
Yeah, it is an allegation.
And that's the only allegation here that I care about. I've said that. I've already said. I don't need to reiterate it.
So the response video from Cameron is a lot of things. The response video is a response to all the drama, which he's taken down, by the way. He avoids addressing this whole allegation of them hooking up, right?
Does anybody have this response video? Is it archived anywhere?
Instead, discussing the non-allegations surrounding it. You know, things like, hey, did we have sex to Big Dick Randy?
Did I have sex to you while listening to Big Dick Randy?
We did not have sex while listening to Big Dick Randy.
Okay, and
Wait,
you gotta understand.
Huh? Hold on. I was messaging somebody. Wait. What? You can send me an archive? Okay, do that. Who is Big Dick? We've got another addition to the story, ladies and gentlemen. Big Dick Randy has entered the ring.
You know, things like, hey, did we have sex to Big Dick Randy?
Did I have sex to you while listening to Big Dick Randy?
What?
We did not have sex while listening to Big Dick Randy.
Okay.
And she sounds, but just to clarify, she sounds like she's fucking being held hostage. She sounds like there's a gun to her head. That is like the least convincing like statement I've ever heard in my life. We did not have sex to Big Dick Randy. Like, what? Dude, she sounds like she's actually being held hostage. I don't believe that at all.
And you gotta understand here, right? In every private conversation Jelly and Cameron have that I have access to, they discuss whether or not their sexual encounter is consensual. They never discuss whether the event happened at all. In these private...
The event happened, okay? They had sex. I want Cameron to come on, man. He's fucking it up for himself, I think. He's fucking it up for himself. He should literally, if he didn't do this, like, he should just own that they had sex. Okay, I think he's nervous because he thinks the age gap, they're gonna call him a pedophile. And to be honest, some people are emphasizing that position, but you need to fall on that sword. You two clearly had sex. Okay? You very obviously had sex. Own that. If you then want to go and refute the notion of rape, that's fine. but you two fucked. Like, let's be like totally for real here.
Conversations where it's just them. They both clearly.
Apparently he visited her twice, by the way, but the timeline is totally unclear. Got it.
Pre-agree that a sexual encounter happened. In a group chat between Liaison Cameron, Jelly,
Just to clarify, because people are misunderstanding, Diesel stated that it's not the age of consent discourse, it's the fact that he was begging Diesel to remove... Okay, well, Diesel probably should have been a bit more clear about that. There's, like, certain word... It's a good video. It's a good video. It's a kind of a... I'm, like, nitpicking a little bit, but it is, like, overall a good video. There's just points or wording that Diesel's using or emphasizing, and could be totally unintentional, that would make me think that he takes issue, like, specifically with the age gap.
Self in my head researcher.
He's obfuscated and flip-flop like crazy. Yeah, because he's panicking. Yeah, he's panicking. It is either a case, in my opinion, they definitely had sex. Okay, I'm willing to risk a lawsuit over that. I will bet everything I have that the two of them were fucking. Okay, that's whatever. But he is blowing up. He really wants this. He's been online as long as I have. This is something you dream about your whole life, and it's the opportunity of a lifetime. And he's now really nervous. It's about to all be fucking. It's about to get blown up. Right? He's panicking, and he probably thinks in his mind either he really did rape her, and now he's just trying to obfuscate or lie to make that less plausible, or he didn't rape her, but he thinks that by falling on the sword of we did have sex when I was 19 and she was 16, that in and of itself is going to blow up his fucking rise. So he's clearly just like panicking here right now. And not being like totally honest. Like that's like very evident.
They both pre-agree.
I didn't make any public accusations that detailed what he did. I found out him and a girl named Eve were doing stuff at the same time when he claimed to be exclusive with me. So we were talking about how much of a bitch he is and sharing stories of the weird stuff he did / lied about. And when I told those same silly stories to Keith, he pointed out that they were kind of illegal, especially when he tried to eat me out and I didn't want it. So I had to start hitting him and stuff. So he would put me down, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like a whole ass crime?
Something
yeah,
happened.
That's crazy.
Cameron even elaborates at how it wasn't rape. So what?
Or the girl's blackmailing him. Yeah, I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I don't buy that.
Private conversations where you're both pretending to have a sexual encounter, have had one, or just you both playing pretend?
He said that you did nothing wrong?
Well, in a legal standpoint.
From a legal standpoint, I was saying no, and I was scared, and that I didn't want to.
Okay, so this is the part that's a red flag. Okay, if I'm remembering this portion of the video correctly, because I watched a bit of it with Dickers. Let's say you had sex with somebody, okay? This person is now claiming after the fact that they were saying no to you, they were hitting you, etc., etc. You don't remember any of that happening. How are you going to respond when she goes and says this? That's a pretty big thing to forget, so you're probably not going to respond with, I don't remember. You're going to be adamantly denying it if that didn't happen. You're going to be adamantly denying it. You're going to be saying, what the fuck? What are you saying? That never happened. What are you talking about? Right? That's what you would respond with, because that's a huge accusation. And if you don't remember it happening, then in your mind, it didn't happen. That's not something you just, like, forget. So how is he going to respond?
No, just in the sense of us having sex, and...
He just brushes, like, I was saying no. Hold on. Yeah, I was
saying no, and I was scared, and that I didn't want to.
No, just in the sense of us having sex, and that can be argued because once I heard you say stop, I put you down. You were being nonverbal.
I don't think I was.
I'm telling you. Maybe I wasn't hearing correctly, but I'm telling you that I did not hear the word stop, and until I did, I put you down. And I felt awful because you were like, once you like started like squirming a bit.
In your mind, with an allegation that puts your whole life in the balance like that, if you don't remember that happening, it's gonna be an adamant fucking no. It's gonna be like, no, I didn't do this. What are you talking about? You're not gonna be making concessions to her. You're gonna say you're just lying. Now, I get not everybody responds the same. There's conceivably a case where like an awkward person is gonna respond like really in like an odd manner. Okay, so this isn't like a slam dunk, totally indicative of his guilt. But for me personally, this is like a huge red flag. This was like the red flag for me where it's like, okay, like it sounds like it sounds like this may have actually happened.
Felt like
Squirming? You're gonna call it squirming? I was hitting you.
Were you?
What is a were you? It's no, you fucking weren't. What are you talking? You don't forget a girl hitting you while you're trying to fuck her. You don't. That's something you forget. It either happened or it didn't. It either happened or it didn't. Were you? Huh. I don't remember that. I don't particularly remember you screaming no and hitting me. I don't particularly remember that. Like, am I off base? Is that not like a huge red flag for how you respond to like an allegation like that? Once again, it's not definitive. It's not a slam dunk. But like, for me, that's like a huge fucking red flag. I don't know. I mean, that's like a crazy way to respond to an insinuation like that, or a statement like that.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I didn't. I don't know. Obviously I wasn't intending to do something bad to you.
I wasn't this either happened or it didn't. Your intention, like, this is the other red flag, right? If I had sex with a girl, and she's now saying, and I don't remember that ever happening, right? And then she goes and says, I was saying no and hitting you. I wouldn't say, well, I didn't intend to hurt you. I would say, you're fucking insane. You're trying to set me up. You're just lying right now. When did that happen? That literally never fucking happened. Well, it wasn't my intention. It wasn't my intention. Nobody cares about your intention. We care about what happened, and it's very, like, a huge red flag that you're not adamantly denying this right now. That's a huge red flag to me.
And I feel bad about it. But that's between us, and that's not going to be public.
That's between us, and that's not gonna... He's, like, very... He's trying to keep this under the rug.
What about how I spent like 5 minutes telling you that I didn't want to kiss you, and then you wouldn't let me go?
Haven't we already been over this? Like, you know, I feel horrible about that.
I feel... So is that not an admission to at least the... That's not rape. That's pretty that's like rapey, right? Is that not like just 5 minutes? 5 minutes is a 5 minutes is a long amount of fucking time. That's like a straight up admission. I feel bad about that. There's no denial. It's a I feel bad about that. That's an admission that for 5 minutes you tried to kiss her while she was... That's an admission, okay? That's different than like the other claim, right? But that's now demonstrating to us, if your admission is true, which it almost certainly is, right? That's demonstrating to us that when you're turned on, you don't have the self-control to stop yourself, or you're choosing not to, right? That's demonstrating a type of behavior that makes it like totally plausible that in the other instance where you were like picking her up and she was saying no, you didn't drop her immediately, right? If for 5 minutes you didn't stop trying to kiss her while she was saying no. Bro's admitting there's something to feel bad about. She just said, you tried to kiss me for 5 minutes while I was saying no, or pushing you off. I forget her wording. He didn't say no. He said, I feel bad about that. There's no denial of that narrative. That is an admission. That's like an admission.
It was only because I wanted to spend more time with you. I wasn't trying to force you to do something.
Diorio in chat, what's up, buddy? I should have just addressed this really quick. You guys aren't gonna like it, okay? People trying to like use this example as like a own on fucking. Listen, I have no problem with my airing out my contentions with Dioria on certain things, but like people that are trying to use this case as like an own on like Dioria or anyone that like promoted this kid is like really fucking stupid. I'm sorry. It's like a super like bad faith thing to like try to hammer in.
But you can't just act like you didn't do anything wrong.
Well, that's the first thing I said to you. Like, like you said, I didn't do anything wrong in the sense of like anything illegal, and you know, in regards to the idea of us having sex, and that's all I was talking about. Not that between, and that's why I said obviously between us. I know I made mistakes.
Diorio gave me the call. Diorio gave me the call before this. I'm sorry, guys. He's threatening my family.
And I feel horrible for them. Because I broke a boundary that I didn't realize I was breaking, and I feel awful.
You didn't realize you were breaking it? Me telling you that I didn't want to and that I was scared and not to grab me. That... Okay.
If you were like... Hold on, wait, hold on. Like, obviously...
She's not a reliable narrator, but I'm inclined to believe the things she's saying right now based on... First of all, she's saying it in a believable way. That doesn't mean it's true, though. She could just be good at manipulating. But how he responds to these things is like the tell for me. Honestly, what I think happened is he may have started something thinking that it was consensual, or it may have actually started consensually. And then when people say consent can be revoked at any time, I know some people like to meme on that and be like, oh, they're saying after sex is done, you can like revoke consent. No. Like in the middle of sex, if like you start having sex with somebody or in like another act like kissing or something else, and then it starts consensually, and then for whatever reason, she pulls out and says, no, I don't want this anymore. You have to stop, because any point after that where you continue is either some form of sexual assault, or if it's in the act of sex, just rape. I think it probably, this is my thoughts. Don't take this as literally as possible. I could be wrong about this, right? But based on what I think happened, based on this evidence that's been presented to me, I think they probably started some consensual acts. She didn't want it anymore, and he was unable to stop himself. Okay, that is honestly like what I think probably happened here, and he's now panicking and like denying things, like even the notion that they may have had sex at all. So I don't really.
Obviously, like after the fact, once I put you down, like I realized what was happening. Like there was a reason I put you down.
'Cause I was hitting you.
Once again, Cameron is welcome to come on. I mean, I'd love to have a conversation with the guy about all of this. He is welcome to come on. He's welcome to call in. I know he's probably watching right now, or he is watching right now. You are welcome to call in. I'm willing to hear your perspective on this.
You might have been. I personally don't remember that.
Wait, let me go back here 1 sec.
I realized what it was feeling.
You were breaking it, me telling you that I didn't want to and that I was scared and not to grab me.
Wait, you already watched that part?
Like, obviously, like, after the fact...
How do you know he's watching? Because he DM'd me earlier that he wanted to make a comment.
Once I put you down, like, I realized what was happening. Like, there was a reason I put you down.
'Cause I was hitting you.
You might have been.
You might have... It's like... Once again, it's not like a slam dunk. There's a conceivable scenario where he's being blackmailed or socially inept, right? It's not like the be-all, end-all. But, like, when a girl says, I was hitting you, that's not, like, a point of, like, it could have happened. It's like this either happened or it didn't. And if you don't remember it happening, you're adamantly fucking denying it. That it might have happened is, like, a huge red flag.
I personally don't remember that, but you might have been. I'm not
Might
gonna
have.
rule it out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm genuine when I say I do not remember that.
So, okay, let me get this straight. Which one is better here? Helping Dev via proxy by lying, or sleeping with the child he thought was hot? Which one is...
Yeah, like someone came in to clarify Diesel doesn't have a problem with the age gap or whatever, or but like his wording, the wording that he's emphasizing makes it sound like this is like a pedo allegation, right? That's what it makes this sound like. The problem here is the unconsensual acts, right?
Worse. I mean, both of them you're helping Dev, but both of them are also pretty bad.
He was wearing a winter coat, so he didn't feel it. He didn't feel her hitting him? Is this a joke? I'll read his response. Who's wearing... What? What? He was wearing a... Dude, this is like Prince Andrew levels of like cap. Well, it's funny because she said I was sweating, and actually I have a medical condition that makes me unable to sweat. What? Who's wearing... What is going on?
To further complicate things, in our original
Yes,
timeline,
that's the only other conceivable scenario. He could have just like been on drugs, right? He could have been on drugs, but he hasn't said that yet.
at the same time Jelly was accusing him of things, another woman enters the discourse. Krexa. Krexa's not important. The short and skinny of Krexa is that Krexa tries to portray Cameron as some sort of maniac, which, if I haven't made it clear, Cameron is a fucking idiot moron. There's actually a clear difference between a maniac and an idiot. So, there's that. So, who is this Krexa person who's accusing Cameron of more things, right? So, for the sake of your sanity, Krexa is really just this mentally unwell young lady who Cameron had a situationship with. Most of all of it is he said, she said type stuff. Okay, Krexa played it off as like a goodwill of Arosana will help her, right? So the anti-Yandere dev community comes in and helps her, and they start a GoFundMe, and then it ultimately ends with Krexa taking the GoFundMe.
This YouTuber is so unlikable. It's a good video. I think he's made some mistakes in like information he was emphasizing and things he was like specifically not clarifying, but for me that's not like the be-all end-all of like how good this video, or like that doesn't like completely refute like this video's purpose. Like for me, this is a really good summary of everything that happened for like a total outsider. I like how he explained context, didn't add like unnecessary stuff. I think so far like this is like a pretty good video.
Money that was for two people and running off with it. Okay, Krexa is just a piece of shit who flew onto the story and then flew away like nothing ever happened. So I put out my video, Cameron puts out his response, I grill him on stream, you should check me out, link below, right? And then a month later, those infamous clips of Yandere Dev are anonymously leaked via Cameron to r/Osana, which these audio clips are edited, by the way, and you can hear that there's definitely some conversation cut out, but they're more than damning enough, so it's not like that really matters all that much. I just felt like it was worth mentioning. And also, Cameron would be good at editing audio because he's a sound engineer and he understands these things. And
Really? Oh my, dude, listen, there's good video editors out there. For the longest time, I've been looking for like good audio people. I found a few. Rezi's given me some great audio advice. But the problem is, the one guy we had in this community that was good with audio was John Swan. He's gone now. There was like somebody else I knew that was good with audio, and then there was a falling out for other reasons. And now this guy's good at editing audio, and damn.
He can make music. He knows how to do
What is it? It's the curse of the audio editor.
that, okay? He knows how to use audio. So, okay, that's the story as it stands. Then a year passes, okay? And right before the iDubbbz Content Cop drops, Cameron calls me to say this.
And I think now I can finally explain this. I did not have sex with Jelly. Okay? The reason
he's now going and he's changing the narrative. In my opinion, I've said this before, he's changing the narrative because he's panicking. He knows he's about to... He's been doing this as long as I have. I can put myself in his shoes, okay? I accomplished everything I wanted out of this when I was much younger, okay? I I got big when I was like 12, 13, 14. You know, I reached all my goals. For somebody like him that's been invested in this stuff since he was my age, and he's now my age now, and he still hasn't gotten that blow up, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. This is the thing you've worked for your entire life for like 8 years, and it's finally happening, and that position is now potentially going to be jeopardized. That position is going to potentially be jeopardized by this shit that's coming out about you. So he's panicking and actively attempting to change the narrative in a way that he thinks is going to like be favorable to him. He probably thinks that it's not even the rape allegation that's going to be like the big problem. The idea that they had sex at all, people are going to call him out over the age gap, he thinks, and now he's just trying to refute the notion they had sex at all.
Said that. The reason I was pressured into saying that was because she had blackmailed over me over something that happened to me when I was younger, and I didn't want it out. And she was trying to force me into this weird thing. It doesn't matter. I don't care anymore. Because
what could she possibly have over you about when you were younger that would be like, where you would be willing to like lie and like contribute to like the notion that you're potentially a rapist? What does she have on you that is that embarrassing where you're willing to do that? This is either a total like lie or like post hoc cope, which I think it probably is. Or you're like, this is one of the most like stupid fucking things I've ever heard.
Is I have proof of her blackmailing me now. So it doesn't matter. I didn't have sex with her. I wasn't interested in her. I met her to interview her.
Okay, so he says he has proof of the blackmail. Diesel's noting he did not get the proof.
If you really care, if you care that much, I could prove it.
To which, by the way, this is an incredible claim, right? It's an incredible shift up in the story. And so I start to look into it because it is incredible, thinking maybe I missed something in my calls. And no, I didn't. I go through all my notes and recordings, and there's really nothing that can corroborate his story outside of Jelly being a liar. Now, the sex story is a
you can't, if it was purely a he said, she said, right? Her being a liar, you could easily use that to like dismiss this if there's no evidence. The problem is, based on the things that he has said to her and that call that was recorded, it's actually a she said and he said some things, right? Like, my suspicions of him are not even hinging on what she claimed happened, right? But how he responded and the things that he said. That's like the thing. That is the thing that is like really making me suspicious of him.
He said, she said type situation, but remember, he admitted it himself. It's his words against him. Now,
yes, exactly. Yep, I didn't pre-watch this. So yeah, it is not purely a he said, she said.
Cameron expressed to me he wanted to come back to commentary because he had a fondness for the genre, okay? We've talked about commentary a lot. He follows drama. It's unsurprising that posts from when he was with
He does. He knows like fringe people that I know. He's known about me since 2017. He is honest about that. He has been watching all these guys.
Have started to go.
But that probably means he's watched so many people have falls over the years that like that's probably contributing to like the panic he's having.
Since I started looking. My video does make him look bad, by the way, by fault of his own actions. I'm not surprised that he wants this video gone. It's a bad look. It's a bad look for somebody wanting to get into commentary to have this kind of thing dangling over you. This puts you in the impossible to defend position of the following. So Cameron had damning clips of Dev either sat on his computer until it was relevant, or us just having to trust you when you've lied in the past and say that you've sent those clips where they needed to go when you got them. I mean, you should be able to prove this really easily via an email correspondence that you had with the department. But is that the case? I don't know. We'll just wait and see. I'm sure you'll provide it after I put this out. But that's not really the most impossible
I don't think as far as I understand, he actually never provided it.
To defend position, assuming you've actually done it. The more impossible to defend position is This whole I lied saying I had sex with the grooming victim of Yandere Dev, complicating the story and helping Dev via proxy, or I did have sex with a minor, complicating the story by helping Dev via proxy and implicating myself. I wouldn't want to be in that position to defend myself. It's kind of really fucking difficult. Listen, I did my work on this story, okay? That video is 3 hours long. I spent months of my life on it. I did my work. I talked to everyone for months, okay? At this rate, it's on you to find these things, not me. And so,
and apparently he still hasn't found it. So, it's not looking good for him so far. You know, I've given my take on what I think is going on here. It seems like pretty apparent. Once again, I could be off on it. But yeah, the way he's responded, it's not a good look. But today he actually issued like a formal response, and we also have one of the videos that he took down initially addressing these allegations. So hopefully that's gonna like provide us with some further context. I gotta go take a piss break. I'll be like 2 minutes. Nobody wanted to call in to keep you guys entertained for 2 minutes. Just stay here for 2 fucking minutes, okay? Don't click off immediately. I leave for 2 minutes. We have like 50 people click off. I'll be right back, okay? It's gonna get good. So you're not gonna want to miss this part, folks. All right, folks, we're back. Type in chat is just totally empty now. Yo, thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the stream, make sure to super chat. We're monetized now. If you can't, make sure to like, make sure to sub. All right, we're gonna check out the response now here, or we're gonna check out. No. Okay. So now we're gonna check out apparently the archived version of Cameron originally addressing these claims. So let's go take a look at those. Wait, Queeman is calling. Hello?
Was the voice call of him like crying
Why
in that
can't I-
Diesel video or not?
Sorry, my headphones are unplugged. Say that one more time.
What was the voice call of him crying in that Diesel video or not?
It wasn't.
Okay, if you open the Diesel document from the description and scroll down to where there's Vocaroo links for the voice calls between Cameron and the girl, in there's one of them crying. It's very funny.
Okay.
So you should see that before you move on to his response.
All right, I'll go check that out. Thanks. Peace, peace. All right, we'll check that. Never mind. Okay, so we'll check out this apparently funny clip, and then we'll go look at the, and then we will go look at the original video addressing this. So let me just make sure. What is this? What the fuck? Huh? Is this? Wait. Okay, this is the clip of him crying in here? What the fuck? They did a whole, like, dossier on this guy? Wait. Alright, the crying clip. Is that, like, link some... What the fuck? Assorted audio clips. Cameron and Anne discuss jelly.
He said that you did nothing wrong?
Well, in a legal standpoint.
From a legal standpoint, I was saying no, and I was
Alright, we already heard
scared.
this one, right? Yeah, we already heard that one. Cameron admits to flashing Anne / Jelly.
What do you mean tell you the truth?
That you flashed her?
It's not what... It's not what the fuck happened. It's not what the fuck happened.
Okay, what happened then?
Showed her my underwear. It was funny. She was asking about it. It wasn't like that, and I'm fucking tired of it. It wasn't like that. It wasn't fucking like it. I was trying to clear that up, and it wasn't the pressure. I was just trying to fucking clear that up, and I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked about it. The only reason I asked about it is because of the conversation we had earlier. I just wanted to clear it up. I'm sorry. I didn't want you thinking weird shit about me because it's not fucking true. It's not who the fuck I am. Specifically fucking avoided that shit because of that fucking reason. I didn't fucking like her like that. And I'm tired of fucking people saying that shit because it's not fucking true.
I didn't like her like that? Wait. He's admitting to showing her his underwear because he thought it was fun. What is going on? What the fuck is going on?
Sorry. Just don't. I'm so tired of it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I won't bring it up again. Okay?
And wait. And then who is he on call with right now? What the fuck? So he's admitting, okay, so he's admitting to showing his underwear because he thought it was funny, but he doesn't have feelings for her? And I'm not sure why Cameron is claiming he saw me down there. Okay, so they didn't... Huh? He's trying to visit me again. Okay, so my understanding is... Should we just read this fucking document? Should we just read... I think we need to read this. I'm missing a lot of important stuff. I think we need to read this. Or skim through it at least. I feel like I'm missing a lot. Okay. So... In September of 2023, Ali MCC posted a video titled "The New Allegations Against Yandere Dev," chronicling recent grooming allegations by Yandere Dev. This video would be removed and then re-uploaded on September 24th, 2023. According to Ali MCC, at Jelly's request, Cameron actively defended Yandere Dev during this time on multiple comments. All right, we already got that. That's in the video. Public separation from Yandere Dev. Okay, I actually want to read this. So after he stops defending Yandere Dev and actually makes like a proper response. As many of you know, I've been acting as Yandere Simulator's lead composer and production assistant for many years. This project has meant a lot to me. While working on the project, I have made many great friends, memories, and beyond from many friends, volunteers, and fans. It has been hard to navigate the recent situation over the years. Yandere Dev has become a close friend of mine, so this has been really hard for me and others close to him. With that said, I must make something clear. I absolutely do not condone what happened. There is no excuse. Okay, this is just him disavowing it. Okay, I don't. Jelly comments about Ali MCC's copyright strike on her video, as well as her sentiment towards Cameron and Yandere Dev during this time when they were on good terms. October 28th, 2023, Cameron DMs with Diesel about Jelly's previous involvement with honeypot servers. Jelly was always flip-floppy. She said the reason she agreed to any of this was because she got jealous and angry with Dev because of some jokes. Once she got over that, she felt bad. She's a 16-year-old girl with high running emotions, so Jelly's no longer involved with these things anymore, as I've learned. However, the former Discord server she was in, these honeypots were in, is still active. It's called Bone Zone. Huh? Bone Zone? Bone Zone? Get these people off the internet. What the fuck is the Bone Zone? What is going on? What the fuck is going on? I've been around here. I've been around this place like 7 years. I've never been involved in a server called the fucking Bone Zone. Bobby with the $5. The project is cursed. True. Cameron tells Diesel he went to see family and had to drive out of state, where he met up with Jelly after Thanksgiving 2023. Initially, it was pitched as a way to interview Jelly, which was later included in Cameron's response to Crex's allegations, which was later privated. In the time after Cameron split with Yandere Dev, he and Jelly would form a friendship and bond over their interactions with Dev. Cameron tells Diesel he went to see family and had to drive out of state, where he met up with Jelly after Thanksgiving of 2023. Initially, it was pitched as a way to interview Jelly, but it would later be included in Cameron's video response to Crex's allegations. On February 23, 2024, this video was later unlisted and then eventually privated. Sometime in December of 2023, Cameron meets Jelly in person again, and according to Cameron, they have sex. Okay, so there are two separate interactions. Okay, the first time, there is no sex, is what I'm understanding. The second time, there supposedly is. By the end of December, Jelly was publicly reinforcing her claim that Cameron did not rape her and makes public posts defending Cameron. No clue why this is a rumor. Why is there a rumor saying that you're a groomer, too, going around on Reddit? No clue why this is a rumor. It's a stupid one. Cam hasn't been weird to me at all. Also, hello from my mobile account. Cameron has been used and manipulated a lot during this. He's been fully supporting me while I made decisions that risk his credibility and career, so I'm going to clear things up. Cameron did not give Alex tips on anything that would make him look better, just told Alex not to victim blame me or make me look bad and to call out the people harassing me on his behalf. This is in defense of me, not to help Alex. Cameron did not have access to the Google Doc, but because he's my friend, I showed him some snippets to see what he thought. I did not intend for Alex's comments and coaching to be made public. Cameron didn't know until... Okay, this is in defense of, like, the claims that he was sweeping for Yandere Dev. Not to be a pest or anything, but why did you claim it was me? Is this aniline person... This is the minor. Or the... I shouldn't say... The person that Cameron... I know they are technically a minor, but... I'm not emphasizing that. It's a 3-year age gap in the nature of their exchanges. Not to be pest or anything, but why did you claim it was me? Ali was making a follow-up vid and needed something. So he's now getting nervous that there's public info out about their interactions or something. Ali was making a follow-up vid and needed something against you, but you didn't really do anything wrong, so I had to do a bit of lying. Sorry. All good, I guess. No, it's not. I should have told her to screw off, but she's really guilted me and turned r/Osana against me last time, so I didn't want to piss her off, but you didn't deserve that, and I feel really bad. By the end of January, Jelly reaches out to Diesel, accusing Cameron of harassment. Goes on to say he isn't a predator, but not to trust Cameron on his opinions of Crexa. Says the dick pic was fake, but alleges that he showed his erection under clothes. Okay, and then that's the clip where he's crying, saying he didn't flash her, but he showed her his underwear because he thought it was funny. And I'm assuming that that's what the boner under his like underwear is related to. There was no feelings involved. Yeah, I don't believe that for a second, right? If you showed her your fucking boner under your underwear, there's obviously a sexual motive to that. Did you like his apology? I thought he did a pretty good job. I told him to wear a hat. Hey, I had a bit of a falling out with Cameron. Resentment has been building for a while, but since he forced me to kiss him, it isn't sexual assault or anything, but he tried to do a lot to me that Crexa claims he did to her. I'm starting to believe her. He made me think I was overreacting the way he did with... Yeah, he seems to be, like, if he wanted to, right? He seems to be, like, somebody that's, like, very controlling over, like, the statements and information that Anne's gonna reveal. In the call, he's telling her what not to say. He's getting kind of mad that his name was mentioned. Like, there is, like, while they were on good terms, it's, like, probably fair to say he was having some influence over her, like, public statements. So if she's, like, sweeping for him or batting for him initially and then, like, changes her mind, that doesn't mean that she's lying about what happened here. Not at all saying he's a predator or anything, but just don't take what he says about her as fact. She's 100% a psycho bitch, but Cameron can be really manipulative and good at downplaying things. Also, he initiated sexual stuff with me 9 times and even recorded some of it. I don't know if he deleted them like I asked him to. Plus, the dick pic wasn't his naked penis, but it was erect in his underwear and he was showing me. So that's the clip where he's crying. Okay, so then that is the clip where he goes and like is crying and admitting to showing his underwear. Letting a man lie and get away with it. You tried to turn 3 girls against each other. Not great. 4 if you count the wonderful Krexa. I suppose 5 with Allie. Broski, it keeps going. Ew. Okay, and then she's tweeting an image of him building a swastika in Minecraft. Was this the blackmail? Dude, can you imagine if, like, this was the blackmail? Can you imagine this whole time he's actually been, like, being blackmailed by this girl to, like, admit to things he didn't do. And the blackmail was that he, like, built, like, a swastika windmill in Minecraft. And that's, like, the thing he was so scared about getting out. Can you just, like, imagine? Who cares? I don't care about this. If you had a bad/illegal sexual experience with Cameron F305, my DMs are open, I'll believe you. Sometime in late January, Jelly and Cameron's friendship deteriorated, and Allie MCC facilitated a call between Jelly and Krexa. Jelly would provide Krexa with additional information to add to her Google Doc on Cameron, see below. You can't even fathom the playing field between a 17-year-old girl and a 30-whatever-year-old man Alex is. So this is about Yandere Dev. Who's FPS? Do what you need to do, but I really want you to think about everything Cameron and Alex have put you through. I'm getting the sense you've been heavily abused for most of your life, since this seems to look normal for you. Think about how they make you feel hurt inside, control you, push you to do things you're not comfortable with. That is not normal. Reverse the roles and imagine would I do this to someone else? How would I feel if I did this to someone else? Think of those questions and apply them to the bad things Cameron and Alex have done to you. Apply it to anyone in your whole life, no matter what words they've said afterwards, to explain their behavior. Some people make you feel very bad inside, even if they have words afterwards to explain it. I hope you can see more clearly once you do that, and then think if I've ever made you feel that way, even once, or the other people trying to support you. Manipulation is a narrative someone is trying to convince you of, and the truth is something you can find yourself by looking. Apply this, and you can more clearly see when someone is lying to you. Who's FPS? Drama YouTuber. Cameron's been trying to get him and Turkey Tom to do a takedown on you and Allie. He didn't do the same to Harley TBS. He didn't do the same to Harley TBS or any other male YouTubers who commented on it, but he tried the same with Kali Mara. He only does it to girls, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so just to be charitable, this Krexa person, this is the person making the new allegations. This Krexa person had apparently made allegations against him prior to this. I'm not saying this is what's happening, and based on this DM, I don't think that that is what's happening, but there could be coaching, a little bit of coaching here, to get someone to substantiate, like, new allegations against him, to add credibility to what she had originally said. I don't think that's what's going on based on what he had said, right? If we didn't have Cameron, like, not denying these, if we didn't have that, like, super suspicious ass call of him with this girl, right, then this would look pretty suspicious and potential coaching. But once again, it's not a he said, she said. I'm really working on a he said, yeah, like Diesel said, it's like a he said about himself that's, like, really, like, fucking making me suspicious of him. On February 2nd, 2024, Krexa posted allegations against Cameron. By all accounts, Cameron debunked these allegations, but her Google Doc will be listed here for posterity. I don't need to go through that. We'll just, seems like that didn't happen. We'll just say it never happened. I'm interested in this new stuff. Yeah, okay, so we saw these clips. Diesel, like, put this in his video where Cameron's, like, getting nervous and doing, like, fake memeing because he's, like, nervous. Withholding evidence. The following call consists of Cameron reaching out to FPS Diesel about a year later, wanting to come forward with new information about Dev and his upcoming Content Cop video. 48 minutes. Okay, we can speed run this one.
What could you possibly be calling me with now?
Yo, what's up, man? How you been?
I'm good, Cameron. What's up?
Of all things I could be contacting you for, what do you think I am contacting you about?
I really don't want to answer that question. So do you just want to tell me why?
I really want you to. Well, first of all, no. Actually, I'll let you answer.
No, you just spit it out. What's up?
No. Brooklyn's
I'll
finest,
put
bro.
some gameplay
Answer.
on I'll put some gameplay on screen because I don't want you guys to stare at a black screen for 48 minutes. It's not gonna be a full 48. If there's nothing here, then we'll just move on to the next one. But I'll pull some gameplay up. This call was so pathetic. Well, that makes me want to listen to it even more.
I've had your coffee, by the way. Good shit.
I did not know that. Okay.
I didn't put it under my name.
Yeah, I pack a lot of orders anyway, so I wouldn't have remembered. But
The second is better. So is the first even worth listening to? Watch like 10 to 20 minutes of this one, and then the second call. Got it.
Okay.
So, yes, that was me. But I did have that was good shit. Anyways, and by the way, I actually was very impressed by. I'm like one of those guys that's in like to YouTuber products. Like I've tried
So he starts off the call. He knows his content cop video is going to come out. He probably knows he's going into this with the impression he's going to get a lot of attention from it. And he's trying to cozy up to Diesel here right now. I don't know if he's doing this because Diesel like has damning shit on him. If this was pre or after the request that he had made for Diesel to like remove him from the video. I'm assuming this was after, but it feels like a little disingenuous to me.
fucking quartering coffee. That shit was like Chinese fucking bullshit. Okay, I actually was very impressed. I thought it was some drop shipping scheme. I'm not gonna go on. And I wasn't gonna blame you for it because like, hey man, I mean we all gotta like hustle. But like fuck, I was impressed. That's good shit, man. But anyways, Bean City aside, what do you think I'm calling you about?
Dog, I don't know, man. Because what you're a free man from Yandere Dev. That's all like a year ago now.
Yeah, I have been for a while. Also, I should probably be very clear about this. I wanted to tell you this a while back, and I think now I can finally explain this. I did not have sex with Jelly. Okay. The reason I said that, the reason I was pressured into saying that, was because she had blackmailed me over something that happened to me when I was younger, and I didn't want it out. And
so my guess right now, is that I'll reset your goal. We haven't hit goal yet. This call happens a year after his initial request to remove the info about him from Diesel's 3-hour video. Got it. Okay. So my hold on. Okay. Reset the goal anyways. Oh, it's ended? Alright, thanks. Start another goal. Alright, I'm still getting used to this, guys. Thanks. Okay. So, let me just go listen to that back. I'm trying not to get sidetracked here. Let me go listen to that back one more time.
I was pressured into saying that was because she had blackmailed me over something that happened to me when I was younger, and I didn't want it out.
Yeah, that's the part that I feel like is like total bullshit, right? To give him some like excuse to like go and rescind the admission he's already made, right? It's not some like stellar observation like anyone could tell. Anyone could see that, but I don't know. It just it feels very it's just like post hoc rationalization for the fact that he's already like admitted to certain things that he thinks are going to be like a negative reflection of him.
And she was trying to force me into this weird thing. It doesn't matter. I don't care anymore because I have proof of her blackmailing me now. So it doesn't matter.
And to my knowledge, that proof has never been provided to like this day. So
not sex with her.
Do with that what you will.
Interested in her. I met her to interview her. If you care that much, I could prove it. I wanted to make that clear mainly because like optically it was weird, and the reason that was all out, and the reason like the RO Sauna like subreddit like cleared my name is because I took the punch. Essentially,
so this is like sensitive info that's being redacted.
And the details of which were.
I'm assuming that this is what he's referencing is like the situation that she's using as blackmail over him. And if that's the case, I don't understand why he's being so like generous with giving this information to Diesel. Is there anything different between this and the video? Well, I've been told that the first 20 minutes, and we have it sped up. I've been told the first 20 minutes is going to give us some sort of insight. So we're going to watch the first 20 minutes of this, and then we'll go to the second call.
Recorded by her unknowingly. And I hadn't told my family about this. And nowadays, like, I'm more open about it, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was really closeted.
Based on context clues, right? Let's just be like totally like honest here. The blackmail is probably that he got molested. It's redacted, but like everyone's saying it, like it's obvious, like it's probably like a, but, and I get it, okay? Just to like I get that there are people that feel a great amount of shame over like being sexually abused. You shouldn't feel shame over that, right? Especially if you're a kid, or at all. It's not your fucking fault. But it still happens, right? So that could be used as blackmail over somebody, especially not even especially men, but men typically. There's like sometimes this response where they feel like it makes them less of a man, and that could be used as blackmail. But I don't see it being that plausible that somebody could use that as blackmail to get you to admit that you've perpetrated some sexual wrongdoing. I don't know. That's the part that doesn't really seem like super believable to me.
About it, I guess. That was like just embarrassing to me. And I mean, nowadays it's like whatever, because like I'm not like, I guess I'm not worried about like, but like at the time I was kind of like, it made me insecure.
Yeah.
And she knew, she played on that, and she made me say something else in order, because it helps her get out of something with another dude that she was with. I don't know. It was retarded, but no, I didn't do that. And I have proof of it. That's besides the point. The real reason I'm calling you is because I need your input on something.
Okay. All right. Well, you just.
He does feel like pretty manipulative, and like the way he goes about things. I think he's being a kiss ass, or he's kissing ass Diesel because he wants an ally or he wants something out of him. I'm still not quite sure like what exactly that is. If he wants Diesel to help him like kill these claims or convince Diesel of his innocence.
Okay, just hit me.
Yeah, I dumped a little bit, but I low-key did want to tell you that, because like
why didn't you tell me she was blackmailing you when it happened? It would have obliterated her. It would have been nothing. But I understand that you were like under duress about something like pretty sensitive, and I get that. But you know, the alternative was her trying to paint you out as a statutory rapist.
Yeah, the real reason was because my family was paying close attention to my online activity at the time, because I was expressing some suicidal ideation.
Mm-hmm.
And I come from a very religious Christian family, and
it's just like also like he has like an answer for everything. There's just there's like an answer for literally everything. I mean, sure, this is all like possible, but like in aggregation, like it does just look like he's trying to kill this, and like he's probably being a bit dishonest to go about doing it. But like you know, I'm being blackmailed. You gave me an admission. Well, the admission I gave you was false because I'm being blackmailed. She's using the fact that this thing happened to me in childhood to get me to admit that, blah, blah, blah. And then, okay, well, if that's true, why didn't you just tell me you were being blackmailed initially? Well, actually, like, I was suicidal at the time. My family's super religious. They were like, everything is aligning to give him he has an answer for like literally everything here.
And it was a very traumatic experience that I'm not comfortable with my family knowing to this point. And I was uncomfortable telling you because I knew you had this platform of, you know, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people even. And even though I knew the thought, like,
why is he comfortable telling him now though? Why is he all of a sudden comfortable just revealing this information? This information was so embarrassing to him that he was willing to potentially implicate himself in what he believed to be some sort of rape allegation or some sort of like grooming allegation. And at that point in time, that information was so detrimental that he was willing to implicate himself in that. But now, a year later, he's just like totally willing to casually talk about it. He's just totally willing to like casually spill it. And it's just like fucking, like, I don't understand like what's substantially changed in like the span of a year that's now making you so comfortable dropping that information, and you're comfortable dropping it conveniently when it can defend you. To convince Diesel to keep as much private as, yeah, that would be my assumption, right? He knows Diesel probably has dirt on him, and he doesn't want it getting out. Yeah.
I thought, like, okay, morally, like, if I get outed that I had sex with a 17.
Aiden, I don't know how to phrase this. Was the 16-year-old and 19-year-old thing bad in the way that he was pedophile? No, I've said this a million times. No. Okay, you're not a 19-year-old who has sex with a 16-year-old, right? And I'm pretty sure in this case it was like she turned 17 like a little bit after, right? You're not a pedophile for that. That's not indicative of any sort of like paraphilic inclinations. I think personally it's irresponsible, right? And it should be frowned upon, but it's not something where it's like permanent life ruination. You should be on the fucking registry. You're a pedophile. Okay, no, I'm not going to even pretend like that's the case, because it's not. The problem is there are allegations of romantic and potentially sexual acts that were like supposedly like very clearly non-consensual that he continued to engage with anyways.
18-year-old at 18, 19, I don't really care, right? That's whatever. At the time, I thought it was whatever because I didn't realize like the statutes and shit.
So yeah, exactly. So he thinks that the notion that he was 19 and had sex with a 16-year-old is going to be the incriminating thing. I don't think that's that incriminating. So I don't know why he would lie about that. But in his mind, he thinks that's the part that people are going to be, nailing him for. So now he's going to change that part of the story. It's clear he's willing to, if he thinks it's going to be used against him, he's willing to lie about it, right? And he thinks that this is a component that can be used against him. I don't think that component in and of itself can be used against him as much as he thinks that it can in this moment. But right now it's demonstrating to me that this is somebody who's willing to like kind of distort the truth to serve his own, like, to, sweep this under the rug. I don't think he's being truthful here. He trusts Diesel's integrity that he won't just blast everything. Well, sucks to be him, right?
Now I'm like, fuck! Like, I realize it now. Because I looked into it, and, like, people told me, when I told the Arosana moderator, like, oh, you realize that you falsely admitted to something that could be held against you, right? I was like, what? What? Really?
Yeah, he's retracting it only because I think he realizes it can, only because he thinks it can be held against him.
And during the Yandere Dev drama, like during the midst of it, I was heavily abusing alcohol. And nowadays I'm abstinent from it, but at the time it was rampant. The second I learned of what he did, it was, yeah, I was in the bottle, and I had to go to rehab. It was a bad situation. It was like really fucked up. I mean, I was really like tied to him.
Yeah.
Like I trusted that guy. And like therapy kind of told me that he low-key groomed me.
Huh?
So that was something I don't think I was. It's funny because everyone.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I've said repeatedly, I don't care that when he was like stupid and dumb, he was playing defense for Yandere Dev. I don't care that he had sex with this age gap, right? But the point is, he thinks people will care. So he's coming up with answers for all these things that really don't need to be answered. But that's now establishing for me that he's willing to lie about these kinds of things. I don't think he's looking for excuses for these things that don't really need excuses. But that's like pretty indicative of like what kind of person he is and how he's going to respond to allegations. He sounds so giddy because he believes he's perfected a story. Yeah, it's like a police interrogation where somebody just says and can over-explain like everything. He has a perfect answer for everything that will like diminish him of like responsibility for things that he believes are incriminating.
Everyone told me that, and I was like, nah. And then like when you hear it from like a professional's mouth, you're like, oh fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like looking back on it, I'm just like, god damn, that guy is fucking like, oh my god, malicious. Like I even now, or now, like especially now, I can't even like. There's no charitability I can really give anymore. A part of me still like wants to give him that like benefit of the doubt that he was just autistic. it was involuntary. He didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't understand tone. But then, like, that sanity kicks in, and I'm like, he was 36. You know, like, there's a certain point where that charitability has to fade away.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an adult. I'm about to turn 21. I know better, you know? And it's like, that shouldn't have even been an announcement. Now, one thing I never omitted any information from was the corrective stuff. That was 100% true. And you might laugh at me for this, but I still stand by any sections of the 2 videos I made about Correxa. 100,000%. Even actually including the RSL sections too.
Yeah, I haven't looked too much into these Correxa allegations. That was his roommate, that supposedly like made some. That was actually like a he said she said. I don't need that to be true for like my other criticisms of him to stand. So, sounds like other people don't think what she said was true. Even people who are like being highly critical of him. So I don't even. We can just like dismiss that for now. That maybe for like another video, we can go and like look into like more of the Correxa stuff. But for my main criticisms of him here, it's more related to the new girl, this like jelly person.
The only section I stand by was anything related to, or excuse jelly. That was a Freudian slip. I don't give a shit anymore. Fuck that bitch. She's an evil little fucking gremlin.
He's also like finding other people to shit on that he can like mutually like bond with Diesel and like his hatred of, or these people are the bad ones, not like us. Yeah, he wants Diesel on his side. He sees Diesel as a potential threat. He's trying to, and I think in a very manipulative fashion, neutralize that threat, win Diesel over, get Diesel on his side, potentially garner sympathy, and he thinks Diesel's buying every single one of his explanations. Yeah.
I knew it then. I knew it now. Like, I don't know. I mean, you probably tell I was uncomfortable with her claiming that I had video of her doing something to me.
Yeah.
Wasn't true. I don't have any videos of her other than the one of us in like a fucking Marshalls or whatever. I recorded her because I was trying to get footage. I was low-key making like a documentary of me leaving the project, me understanding why I was leaving, me like talking to this person, because once I was in the area, because I was with my aunt, she told me, oh, like I'm like 15 minutes away from there. Reach out. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Like this could be interesting. Because I don't know if you remember this from our first conversation, but I used to be in. That's how I knew of Harley. That's how I knew of Tom.
Yeah.
Also, me sending information to Turkey Tom, not true. I was going to send it to actual authorities, like actual like fucking feds and shit.
He might have discussed sending it to Tom. I mean, he seems like somebody that really wants to be famous. Like that's my read of him, which is why I think he's like so nervous and trying to sweep things under the rug, because this will all be a hindrance to that goal he has of like becoming a famous YouTuber, right? But I think it's plausible. He probably threw the idea out there of like sending this to Tom, but that doesn't really like matter all that much in like the grand scheme of things.
Because I have footage of Yonder admitting everything that I sent to his local police department, and I also sent it to the FBI because it was like he admitted to CSUN.
Yeah.
Which got leaked to Arasana. But yeah. I can't this up. I'm getting back into commentary now. And I'm making a video about iDubbbz, and I was hoping to get your opinion on my flow. But I also look you.
Huh? Dude, that's like the fakest sounding laugh I've ever fucking seen, bro. Are you sure you got off the bottle, bro? That's a very strange laugh.
I wanted to dump all that other shit because that's been weighing on me for about a year.
Yeah. Okay. Jesus.
I'm telling you like a psychopath.
You know, honestly, it's not even the craziest shit I've heard this month, so whatever.
You got with the too mad shit.
Yeah. Thank God he's dead.
I don't know about all that. She's like, I mean, this might be controversial. Sorry, switching.
Yeah.
Like, I was a fan of his, and I grew up with ADHD, and I don't think he had schizophrenia or anything. I think he was a person
And just
with
keep in
unmedicated-
mind, apparently this is like the first time that him and Diesel are like speaking to one another in like a year, right? So, correct me if I'm wrong on that. So it's like really weird, like how he's trying to like talk about like he's trying to get this guy to like him. This seems like a very forced attempt at getting this fucking guy to like him, to neutralize this threat. We should ask why a substance abuser with a traumatized childhood probably wasn't given a soul. He was not ensouled at birth. He does not have a soul. Okay, go on.
ADHD who grew up in an environment where that wasn't really taken seriously. which I understand. And
like he's just being so friendly that it feels fucking fake. He's just like being super friendly.
thankfully, eventually, I came out like good because mine was taken seriously after a certain point. Then he got famous. He abused drugs and did some really retarded shit. I'm not saying he was a good person per se. I'm saying that was a creator with a lot of potential that went down a horrible path that I can't help but feel empathy for in a way, you know? So I wouldn't say thank God he's dead, but I also don't blame someone for saying that at the same time because I, like, fuck, man, that shit was getting crazy.
Well, the things that were public were like a quarter of everything.
Yeah, you told me of something of some like real, like not the fake Jameski shit, but like the real firearms related stuff. Like you showed me a video that was really damning.
Yeah, that a lot of his like personal relationships. I mean, you know, YouTubers are gossipy, so
Okay, is this where it gets uninteresting and we should move to the second call? Because now they're just talking about like unrelated shit. So is this where we should probably then go and move to the next one? I guess we could keep listening.
Anyway, the point is you want to do an iDubbbz video and come back to commentary?
Yeah. Fucking hate that you're from New York. Or from the northeastern United States. Because the way you say that is like, you want to come back to YouTube and go to commentary. I'm like,
yeah, the gabagool voice, yes.
Yes, yes. is the
Okay,
answer.
man,
Okay, we'll move on to the next. It's like so like maybe it is his ADHD. Maybe it is his ADHD, but he's just like, what is going on? This is like the fakest laugh. There's no way you actually found it like that funny. There's just no way. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe because I'm from New York, maybe I don't get like people finding it that funny, but because I'm used to it, but I just feel like that's not like that funny. All right, let's move. Okay, so that was the beginning of the first call. Now we'll move on to the second call that is in this document. Shortly after, okay, so, and then, okay, so that happens. That's like, there's a, if you want, you could check out the original Diesel document. I'll probably link it like at the end of the stream to listen to that full call, right? But then what happens is, according to this document, whoa, what's going on here? Okay, so then, according to this document, Cameron then goes and messages Diesel, sorry for the random call, I have an impromptu question. He knows the content cop is about to come out. Where he knows he's probably about to get big off of this, because he's making this video. He's now panicking. People are sourcing your video against me. Would you be willing to cut the stuff out about me? So this is, okay, so the first call, the call we just listened to, call number 1. This was on May 5th. This is on May 7th, 2 days later. So actually it was before he asked Diesel to cut the stuff on him. That makes this 10 times worse. I'm like, why is he being so friendly to this guy? Does he see him as a potential threat? What is he trying to get out of this? That entire fucking call, in my opinion, was just so he could get him to a point where he's friendly enough where he's willing to cut the shit out about him. I think he had that intention from the get-go. That was his intention from the get-go. Whoever the fuck told me that this was after he had asked to cut, that's not true. Okay, so it was clear he was trying to get something. I think that's what he wanted from the get-go. Which is super manipulative, by the way. So now we have this second call that we'll listen to.
Yo. Ooh.
Bad?
Oh no, it was just like a little like crackly for a second. I think what you were putting in a mic or something, or
I think I fucked with my cord a little bit. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of been dreading this.
Yeah, I know you messaged me and then you deleted the message.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this is after, wait. So this is after he's made the request for Diesel to cut the stuff from the video. This now comes afterwards. he sees this as a threat. He's worried about this. That's why he went to Diesel trying to buddy up to him, and now he's scared. He's scared that this is gonna take him down. No, wait, sorry, I fucked up. Wait, no, I fucked up. This was after he released his content cop. So now he sees this as a threat. He's worried that this is going to fuck up his rise to fame, and he wants Diesel to cut the stuff about him. He's probably panicking right now, evidently.
It's not. It's more so. It's just like it goes over like two things that I like never want to rehash like ever. Like, well, one of them I like took years of therapy, obviously, but the other one is just like, that was a shitty thing. Like, that was just really anxious time.
I mean, you came to me to relitigate it, really.
Yeah, I did.
He didn't want to relitigate anything. He came to Diesel because he wanted something from him, and instead of being transparent about it, he's like acting like he's his fucking friend. Dude, it's so obvious, bro. I wish I knew when listening to that part of the first call. I wish I knew when listening to that part of the first call that this was before he asked him to cut the stuff from the video. Whoever the fuck told me that that's not true, you're banned from chatting for life. But that makes everything, take everything I said and make it 10 times worse. It's super manipulative.
I don't know why. I guess I felt like I could kind of trust you in a way. I don't think you would go out and tell.
By the way, folks, if you're enjoying the stream, make sure we have super chats now. You could donate, always helps us out. If not, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe.
People like this, thing that happened to me that I am uncomfortable with people knowing, and it, like, I think you would understand, especially having dealt with the situation and knowing the people involved. Why, like, I think, and I also at that time actually did want feedback on my video. Like that was.
Yeah, I mean, your video's been successful, so that's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I expected maybe 30K views tops. So this has been very overwhelming for sure, in a good way. Of course, it got relitigated. So, but it doesn't seem to be catching much.
Listen to that. Just listen. Listen. Your video seems to be doing really good, man. Wanting Diesel to cut the stuff, old stuff about him from the video. He's like, yeah, it is doing really good. Of course, it all got relitigated. Wink, wink, and then it's so transparent, man. This guy thinks he's like an evil genius. It's so transparent what he's trying to do. He wants to guilt Diesel into cutting that shit out of his video.
Much traction.
To be honest, both sides of the Ethan Hassan IDub, they don't know about Yandere Dev. They don't know about that.
Yeah.
It's just a different part of the internet.
They're trying.
So now Diesel's saying, providing reasons why he shouldn't worry about this. Like, there's no reason to worry about this. They don't really know or care about this part of the internet. And Cameron's still wanting him to cut this out of the video so he doesn't have to worry that it's a potential threat, is now further trying to show Diesel this is a threat. Cut it. Like, trying to guilt him into removing that section of the video in relation to, like, the old drama that could reflect badly on him.
Leftovers H3, like the snark people, they've definitely tried. Some people have been like, hey, I saw this. But then, like, what's funny is most of the YouTubers that they try to tell already know. Like, they already know. So they don't care. They know it's like, they know it's either bullshit or it's like, I really wasn't a big part of that.
They know that you like work for Dev.
Well, because I was in like the commentary space briefly for a while.
Yeah.
And a lot of them I already spoken to.
Okay, so this is actually in regards to, so there are I'll reiterate it, there are 3 major points of criticism for him, right? There's the fact he was working with Yandere Dev and like sweeping for him. There's the allegations, people who criticize the notion that he potentially had sex with a 16-year-old at the age of 19, and people who are critical of the possibility that he sexually assaulted this 16-year-old at the age of 19, right? So for the allegation of sex, he's going to sweep that by claiming his admission was blackmail. For the Yandere stuff, which is at this point, right, Diesel doesn't yet, by the point of this call, have a video up on his channel documenting like the alleged sex with this jelly person. This comes out after this call, after the content cop, right? So there's no reason to ask him to remove anything about that. So what's this other threat to him? The old Yandere Dev stuff. So how is he now going to deal with that? Tries to deal with the sex allegation, with the, blackmail claim or whatever. He's going to try to deal with this by guilting Diesel into cutting it from the video. So anything he thinks can be used as like a point of criticism against him. anything he thinks that can be used as a point of criticism against him, he's gonna desperately try to neutralize it. Because he's panicking. He's in panic mode.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking, I'm rambling, because...
So why don't... Okay, so when it happened, you gave me, like, the story, and actually, like, walk me through what actually happened based on our last call, where it's like, oh...
Are you psychoanalyzing him too much? No? No, I'm... You can't read people's mind. But when you have all these different, like, things that he's doing that don't really have, like, a super, like, you're wondering, why is he doing all these different things, right? That would be the most logical motive for how all of these things relate. It's not really like a psychoanalysis. It's just like me making a inference as to his, like, motives. It's like a super deep analytical psychoanalysis. I'm just doing what people normally do and trying to discern why is he doing these things.
I was being blackmailed to say that.
So what essentially happened was me and her were like getting close. That all was true, and it was very obvious to me that she liked me. Are you recording this?
Of course I am, and you should be too.
He's totally panicking.
I should be, but you're not gonna release it.
I don't know what I'm going.
Not
to
gonna
do.
release
Depends how our
it. Wink,
conversation
wink.
goes.
Freddie said too much.
Whatever. I won't go too deep. As long as you don't like
put the part about you.
About yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to do that.
Okay, I appreciate that. At the very least, I mean, obviously, I would be uncomfortable with the conversation getting out, but I mean, whatever.
Oh, okay. So he thinks. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. See, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be applause Andy, but it's like so clear to me what he's doing. This isn't a psychoanalysis. So he thinks, he thinks Diesel's recording him. Okay. He pretends like his concern is with the private info that was allegedly used as blackmail against him by this girl. This info most likely being like allegations of childhood molestation, right? So he's like, okay, that's all I care about. Just don't put that in the video. And Diesel's like, yeah, no worries. But that's not really what he wants. He doesn't want this shit being out there at all. So now he's gonna say, oh, well, to be honest, I actually don't want any of it. Like, he wants to now, he's gotten a concession on this small thing. He now wants to go for the full, I think I heard this unedited the first time around.
Basically, we were close. We got close, and this was obviously before I knew about her past. There were times I was trying to get out of it, where like I would be like, okay, I can't handle this anymore. I need to send this. I need to prove it. I need to send some evidence that this person's malicious. And then I would walk back on it, like out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And because as the stones became more and more unturned, things got different. Now we definitely were friendly, and we definitely got close, but that was pretty short-lived. It lasted maybe a month or two. Once January hit, like we were not on good terms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it obviously like there was like she was recording everything I was saying. She got that on me, and it's not like I did anything. It's not like I'm admitting to something crazy. It's just that like that's like extremely like, personal that I am embarrassed of. Like I wish that never happened, and it's something I just don't want people knowing.
So when did she make that into blackmail?
I think it was around the time when, like, I think it was like later December, where like she was really getting. It felt like she was into me, and I felt uncomfortable with that because I'm not gonna lie to you. At that time, I was just like really not, at that state where I felt like I even wanted to get into something like that. I did feel comforted by her. Like there was definitely aspects where it felt like she was like, or like we were like toting that line. Like that's undeniable. But it was not something I wanted to pursue in any way, shape, or form. And when I made that clear to her, she seemed to have quickly snapped. A lot of jealousy came out because like I had started to talk to a girl that I liked, and she got insecure, jealous, like, and it got really dark really quickly.
Mm-hmm. So over that time, you're bonding with her, and you tell her, this horrible thing happened to me.
Yeah.
Well, why did you tell her that? Just because you felt comfortable?
Well, we were both talking about,
Gamma raid based. I've listened to the same audio. Yeah, I gotta be honest. It's we're 7 minutes in. It's an hour and 34 minutes. I'm probably going to do a part 2 and save this for next stream. I want to go right to his response. I don't want to like sit here and passively play Hoi 4. I'm actually really happy with how this stream has gone. This may be our first VOD that finally gets uploaded. So we're actually just going to skip to his response. Diesel kind of summarized everything in his video, but as I said before, I'll link the recording if you want to listen to the full thing. But what the 2 recordings have discerned for me is like the level of manipulation Cameron's willing to engage in to like neutralize any potential threat that he thinks is out there that's gonna like harm this like thing that he so desperately wants, that thing being fame. If you want to skip, go to the end quarter. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, we'll finish the end quarter then.
I mean, it's not something I really volunteer, any of it. I think I'm sorry for raising my voice and stuff. I'm not. I don't want to make an enemy or be a dick or anything.
Wait, he raised his. Wait, hold on.
Guilty of a conscience. So I was just like, whatever, move on.
Cameron, you gotta understand why I wouldn't trust you. You were lying in your response video about this exact thing. All right. You weren't honest and upfront with me about this exact thing throughout many of our calls. Okay, it was like pulling teeth. Right. Once it's finally out there and I post about it, oh, well, all the gloves are off. We have the call with Ann, or we have the group chat with Ann. That happens every single time through that entire thing. Nobody says that this event didn't happen. All right. And then you come to me a year later and say, hey, Diesel, it didn't happen. And I told you a lie.
Yeah, so this is a year after the... Okay, no, I can tell why you want me to actually finish this last quarter. Okay, so after entering this, he obviously wants something from Diesel, that thing being he wants Diesel to go and cut the potential threat, information about him that will make him look bad from his video, I assume in like the YouTube editor, because the video is already published. Diesel's now like trying to verbalize to him that like, yeah, this seems like complete bullshit, right? The blackmail seems like complete bullshit. Diesel's now like being assertive.
Yeah.
And it seems like all of this happens to change at a really opportune time when you want to come to commentary, when you and I both know, knowing commentary's history,
exactly,
that this exact thing would string you up.
I don't know. It was more so, there was a lot to it.
Would you like Harley?
Exactly. It's everything is over-explained and it's all at very convenient times, right? He has a big issue. The reason he lied to Diesel is because there's this blackmail hanging over his head that he's like super unwilling to like let it get out there to anybody, even Diesel, because he's not willing to tell Diesel like, hey, I'm being blackmailed. But now he wants to come back to commentary, and now all of a sudden this piece of info that was so embarrassing, he was literally willing to like incriminate himself with like a fake confession just to prevent it from getting out there. Now all of a sudden he's willing to tell Diesel all about it and say he was blackmailed, so the original confession doesn't count. Right when he wants to get back into commentary. It's super convenient timing. It's an obvious fucking lie.
TBS talking about how you had sex with Ann now?
I don't give a fuck what Harley TBS says or thinks or does, frankly.
Now that is something I can agree with. That is a very accurate statement he's just made. Okay, a rare W.
Really? Because you talk about Harley TBS quite a bit. You've like, mentioned him more than once in our calls.
Yeah, a couple times in our calls, because that's someone you and I both know in the community.
And it's somebody that's covered the Yandere Dev stuff.
It's also somebody I don't like.
Exactly, so you wouldn't like them covering that, would you?
I frankly don't care. I wouldn't like it. I just don't care about Harley. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like anyone covering it.
He clearly wants this swept under the rug. He doesn't want the public knowing about this. He doesn't want this blowing up. He obviously cares.
No shit. But it's not... Listen, you can choose not to believe me. I understand why you're grilling me. I get that. But at the same time, you have to, like... Okay, whether or not you believe me right now, say everything I'm saying is true. You understand why that infuriates me.
Absolutely. But you haven't given me a reason to trust you, and you've been nothing but a snake through the entire thing as far as I'm concerned. I can't believe I was so charitable to you before.
You have to understand where my position was. I regret my decisions. Absolutely. Absolutely. Billion%. But I wasn't lying when I said I liked you as a content creator. I wasn't lying when I said I thought you, like, you know, when I was, I guess, as you put it, glazing you. I do, like, respect you. There's a reason I can't.
He was okay. It was so fucking obvious what he was doing. He was trying to blow smoke up this guy's fucking ass to go get him to do what he wanted and remove the embarrassing stuff. I was being serious when I went on this like tangent about how much I love your like obscure coffee brand. What a load of fucking horse shit, bro. Nobody believes it. Okay? Nobody fucking believes it.
Came to you for any of this. I respect you. Like, the reason I was kind of, I guess, scared at certain points, I'm sure early on, was because I respected you. I didn't want to, like, fucking fuck up, you know, I guess your view of me on one hand,
You,
and on the other
you know
hand.
that lying was going to be 10 times worse than any alternative, right? Like now I'm re-looking into this again.
Of course,
I'm bringing
and
the
I
hammer
knew this
down.
day
It's
would. I knew this day would eventually probably come, where I would have to tell you this. I just didn't know when. I felt like I'm in a better spot now. I feel like now that like I've been able to move on. There's a reason why this. I understand, like, oh, he's coming back to commentary. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Sure, I get that, and that, like, I won't lie. There's probably a correlation there. But at the same time, it's all because as well. I'm feeling more comfortable coming back. I'm feeling more healthier. I've had time to process things. I've had time to get therapy. I've had time to get advice. Because I mean, you're not the first person I've told about the blackmail. It took a while. Like, if you think this is like my first time relitigating it,
Yeah, the reason I'm now willing to go and like reveal this like super embarrassing piece of information to everybody that like basically caused me to lie to begin with is because therapy finally magically convinced me to be totally okay with saying it, even though saying it now is what's going to benefit me and like hopefully get me out of having this like piece of embarrassing info out.
to me, no. Like, it's been a lot of fucking therapy. You know, it's been a lot of time, loved ones, talking with my girlfriend about what happened. You know, a lot of shit. This didn't come like out of nowhere. If I could change one thing, probably it would. Before I reached out to me, I would have gone through all the calls, but frankly, it's hard to go back to them for many reasons.
I'm
some of
certain.
them, some of them I know are lost because she forced me.
She forced you through Discord to delete them?
Oh my.
Under what?
Listen, I know.
Dude, this guy's such a fucking liar. This guy is such a fucking liar. I just said he has an explanation for everything. Anything that needs an explanation, there's a perfect fucking explanation for it. I have proof that I was being blackmailed. Where's the proof now? She forced me to go through and fucking delete all of it. Why would you delete the only piece of evidence that fucking exonerates you? Why would you delete the... And this had to have happened after the first convo with Diesel, when he called him after a year. Because he would obviously remember something like that she made him go through and delete all of this. So at some point, maybe between the first and second, she did that. But if that's true, and you're trying so hard to sweep these allegations under the rug, why would you delete the exonerating fucking evidence? These are lies. This is all lies, okay? All of this is lies. This person is a pathological liar. This person is a pathological liar, and I mean, oh my god, dude. This guy is like, no wonder he's not willing to get on a fucking call, bro. This guy's a pathological, he's lying about everything. He's lying about everything. Is this guy's name even fucking Cameron?
At the time, I felt forced, okay? I know it sounds ridiculous. At that time, I felt forced.
She forced me into deleting the only pieces of evidence that would exonerate me.
You know what I mean? At that time, when you're hearing all of the things that you feel like, oh my god, this is like the worst thing imaginable in my head. That's what it was. It was the worst fucking thing imaginable. When you're hearing that like screamed at you, you feel like you have no option. You feel like this is the end of the world. You'll do things that you think that in hindsight feel fucking retarded. I feel like this is so backwards.
So
why did
you deleted calls because you told her that you were...
First of all, I'm not getting into that with you. I'm not comfortable.
And this is another big tell. The selective openness. Selective openness. I'm totally open with you about this embarrassing piece of information at the beginning of the call when I believe it can benefit me and get you to believe my story about why I had originally lied to you and potentially get you to do the thing I want. Get rid of the fucking original embarrassing info about me that is archived through your video. But now, Now that you're grilling me, now that you're critical of this, now that you're very evidently not going to do the thing that I want, now I'm not getting into it. Now I don't want to talk about it. I've just gone and selectively revealed it to you because supposedly I'm now more open about it through years of growth and therapy. But now that it's being used against me, now all of a sudden this is just too personal. I just can't get into it. It's just too personal. Is there anything that this person won't fucking lie about? Is there anything this person won't lie about? It's so dishonest. It's so fucking dishonest. Stop lying.
Comfortable talking about that.
But that was the reason why, right? That was the dark secret you didn't want getting out there.
There's a lot more to it.
I'm certain there is.
And
there's more.
I don't
There's
like
more to the story. I just can't tell you about it.
But I get you're being frank or whatever. A lot happened, and a lot of what happened is like more so the details that fucking haunt.
And you told her the details about this.
Well, yeah. I regret it. I wish I didn't.
Let's say I believe your story, right? You
don't give a
even
fuck.
telling her that story
It was a fucking dumb idea. I know. It was dumb. I shouldn't have fucking told her. I felt comfortable.
And so you agreed to delete calls. You agreed to say that you had sex with her.
I didn't care. I didn't care what the fuck it was, dude.
I'm not calling you a pedophile. You realize people will call you a pedophile for the rest of your life?
Good. Okay, yeah, Diesel's gonna claim it was never about the age gap. Obviously, Diesel's emphasis on the criticism was probably in regards to the age gap, okay? 1960 is not fucking pedophilia. Let's just be like totally for real. And because people are emphasizing this point, now there's people defending him on Twitter, allegedly, in his response, saying, yeah, it's only 1960, as if the age gap was the main problem. The age gap isn't the main problem, but a bunch of fucking morons are like emphasizing that as if it's the main criticism. It's not even a criticism. Oh my, why can't anybody like handle anything? Why can't anybody handle anything? Why couldn't Diesel be like how I've been through this entire stream, just like drilling into people's heads? The problem isn't the age gap. The problem isn't the age gap. The problem isn't the age gap. The problem is the lies. The problem is the allegations of forcible sexual exchanges. The problem, I mean, it's so low stakes. So, like, I don't get it.
Call me what the fuck you want. I know I didn't do it.
You would rather be called a pedophile than the alternative?
I didn't think of it like that at the time. I wasn't thinking of it like that. You have to understand.
I mean, like, put YouTube aside, your fucking entire life could have been ruined.
But Diesel's right in the point. No, but okay. I was being a little harsh on Diesel. He makes a good video, but he's also right in the point that, like, yes, there will be some morons that do think he's like a pedophile for a 1916 age gap, and he was willing to lie that he had sex with her because she had embarrassing info on him.
Totally get that. I totally get that. But you have to understand critically that I was not thinking about that. I was thinking about, I was tunnel visioned on this one thing.
I don't care. Okay, this is going to sound really bad out of context. My assessment of this has nothing to do with the law. I think the law in the U.S. is like really, the state lines bullshit. We should just have a flat age of consent across every fucking state. It should be, listen, I get it. States' rights. It should be flat age of consent. This whole shit where it's like, it's totally okay here, but you're like a sex offender if you do the same thing an hour away in another state. It just needs to be fucking flat, cross everywhere. The law in these kinds of conversations isn't really like a big factor for me. I'm making a moral judgment, and the law is not where I derive my morality from. And with my understanding of what pedophilia is, pedophilia is not defined by the law. It's defined by psychologists, right? And with my understanding of what pedophilia is, 1960 is not fucking pedophilia. Something isn't pedophilia in one state, and then it's not pedophilia in another. Like, it's just, pedophilia is pedophilia. Just accept it's technically illegal. But the legality of certain things is not, like, the thing that's potentially super illegal is allegations of, like, forcible sexual activity. Potentially rape, potentially sexual assault, That's illegal everywhere. That's the thing we should really be emphasizing here.
I never wanted it out. I was unwell. You're not... Obviously, me and my rational mind now is like, what the actual fuck was I thinking?
So after everything was said and done, why didn't Anne just release it anyway? Like, the video was out, everybody had known everything, everybody thought Anne was a piece of shit, and she just chose not to release that?
I
Not
don't
like
know.
her. She's very vindictive.
There's certain things about her that she definitely is willing to capitulate with some things. She feels very, I guess, we were able to end our relationship, I guess, on like, it was like fine terms, but like it definitely wasn't like positive. I don't know why she didn't release it. A part of me wonders if, like, well, she definitely had it. I don't doubt that she had it. I heard parts of it. She definitely had something. Fuck, I don't know, dude. But I capitulated a lot for her not to do it.
You agreed to an insane thing, if that is the
I
case.
fucking know.
Like,
You think I don't know that, man?
And without you having a clip to...
Agreeing that they had sex is not that insane of a thing, but he thinks it's insane, which is why he's lying about it now. Okay? It's totally like, that's not like that insane of a thing.
I just have to take your word on it, and I can't. Okay?
I understand. And look, and
it looks to me...
The point is,
having
though,
been in this
he
space
thinks it is, which is why he's lying.
for a while, that you came to me because you didn't like how that was out there. Because that's what it looks like right now.
I don't like how that's the narrative that people have to accept, because I made a really dumb choice. It sucks, but it's what's gonna have to be, I guess, unless I find the recording. The reason I ended up continuing with this call,
Unless I find this recording out there that, like, definitely exists. It's definitely out there, guys. I'm sure he'll find it one day. I'll be, like, fucking 85 years old in a nursing home. He's gonna be like, I finally found the recording after all these years. He's, like, totally exonerated. It turns out this is, like, a 16-year-old, like, evil blackmailing mastermind that has actually blackmailed him with all this info and, like, elicited a false confession and has gotten him to, like, delete the only evidence exonerating him. Can you imagine how crazy that would be? I'd have to make the biggest apology of my fucking life.
I was gonna cancel. The reason I ended up doing it is because I just wanted you to know. I wanted someone to know.
I wanted someone to know, man.
Well, you said you spoke to another...
It's someone who got it.
Mm.
Like, I mean, they get it, but it just sounds like goofy fucking internet drama to them.
Mm. So it was like an IRL person.
My therapist, and then my girlfriend. But I mean, beyond that, I mean, it's not something I really volunteer.
Well, that actually reminds me, folks. I actually have a special guest coming on here tomorrow night in our part 2 of this stream. We've actually managed to, with your generous support tonight, elicit a bribe to Cameron's therapist, who's coming here tomorrow night to violate HIPAA laws and give us an exclusive interview. How about that, folks? How about that? She's coming here tomorrow night, here only on Aiden Underground. So, your money's going to a good cause.
Any of it.
DMs. I'll check that out when I'm done. Thank you, Queeman.
I think I'm sorry for raising my voice and stuff. I don't want to make an enemy or be a dick or anything.
I just want you to do what I want. I don't want to like make an enemy. I just want you to like do exactly what I want, and nobody has to get hurt.
Obviously, has been weighing on me for a long time. Blackmail, everything to do with the things she said, the things she wanted to do to me, the things that she tried to do to me, things she probably successfully got done to me. I think that was her goal, was to have this dirty shit out about me that she wanted because she had her reasons, I guess. I don't understand it. I don't understand why that was so important to her. I haven't stopped thinking about that, you know?
Is anyone gonna cover this, by the way? Is Chud Logic covering this? Is Chud Logic covering this? Is Diorio covering this? Is anyone gonna cover this? Besides the usual people that cover everything? Chud covered it yesterday. Got it. Thank you.
Why? Why? You get me?
I hear you.
I understand that there were definitely times in the past where I was.
I know there are a lot of specifically my new Cabal watchers that are gonna probably sit here and try to be like, yeah, Nick's not gonna cover it. He's sweeping. I listen. I don't think like this is like that. Like people are trying to use this like allegedly to because Dickers apparently was willing to make a tweet about it, which was like really cringe. But to like get an own on Dioria or whatever, I don't think it's like super reflective of him.
It's not honest with you.
Nobody was honest in that story, so of course I'm not gonna. You know, it's you come to me and you say something incredible.
Can you give me just 2 moments? I'm gonna wash. Fucking face this thing.
Why are you washing your face mid-call? Is he like crying tears of blood? The fuck was that? Huh? 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 What the fuck was that? Is he okay? He's gonna come back to the call. He's gonna be like, actually, now I need you to remove the embarrassing stuff about me because when I went to go wash my face, a mugger came into my house and like actually just stabbed me just now. So like in the span of 5 seconds, I went to the hospital and they said like stress will like cause my heart to stop, and I need you to remove that stuff from the video. What the, is he trying to rape the phone? Has it been so long? He's trying. I'm kidding. This is all still alleged. Okay, this is all still alleged. Once again, all still alleged.
Yeah. So yeah.
I couldn't hear you. You cut out for a second.
Oh, in hindsight, I definitely wish I was more honest, with you.
I'm sure you do, buddy. I'm sure you do because this isn't making sense to anybody.
But this is a bed that I'm gonna take responsibility that I chose to lay in because I complied with, I guess, her demands, which was a dumb fucking decision. But that's the route that happened. And I want to stress again, I wasn't expecting you to delete it. I asked at that one point because I was like, oh, it's being relitigated, and I was like, you know what, that's silly to expect him to do. I wouldn't do that. You know.
This is what I do, and there are not other drama tubers out there that know as much as me.
I know that, yeah.
So if anybody was going to say something,
yeah. Again, man, I do apologize for raising my voice.
It's fine. I'm a New Yorker. Do you think I care?
Hey, he's walking there.
Listen, either way, you're just gonna need to get that to me. Period.
Okay.
Like it's just if you don't have anything, then you don't have anything, and it is what it is. You know.
I will look for it. I don't. Well, I do want you to believe me, but obviously, but I don't expect you to. I guess.
Listen,
Okay.
I might be first.
Does this get any crazier? Because I kind of want to move on to his response because his response also looks kind of insane.
Jump, but you know, man, those people in the drama you've inserted yourself into. Okay, some of them got nothing but time on their hands.
I know.
And they publish your docs, they publish your real name.
Go ahead, honestly. Nothing
Move
new
on.
there.
All right, we're gonna jump into his response now, which is even more manipulative. I feel like, and it seems like Yeet is like perpetuating the manipulativeness of his doc. Once again, let me clarify, because there are some fucking morons out there that are gonna. This is like they're gonna think the problem is with the 2.5-year age gap. It's not. Nobody who like actually matters in this world is claiming the problem is with the 2.5-year age gap. The problem is that there are allegations of forcible sexual contact. He's lied repeatedly. Yeah, I mean, there's like he's a dishonest individual, but we'll check it out. Did he take down the original? Did he take down the original response? There it is. Okay, cool. I knew that eventually this would come up. Okay, right off the bat, I believe that. That's why he's panicking, trying to get it swept under the rug. And I initially thought that since many of these allegations had already been disproven in the past, this is in reference to the first situation that I think even Diesel himself has like repeatedly said was she's like a liar or whatever in regards to the first situation. So because there are other claims that have been debunked, he's going to use that as like a way to kind of make the new claims like look implausible. However, after seeing the situation unfold, after a video by FPS Diesel released rehashing the situation, oh wait, no, this actually, hold on. Oh wait, no, never mind. Never mind. This actually is in regards to the new situation. Is it? Okay, there's nothing here debunking anything. It's just like a claim that it's just like a claim saying it didn't happen. That she lied. Yeah, there's nothing here that's okay. This isn't there's evidence in the hyperlinks. There's no evidence there. Okay. That I wouldn't need to respond. However, after seeing the situation unfold after a video by FPS Diesel release rehashing the situation, many people began to promote false allegations, which I do not blame Diesel for, drawn gross conclusions, and have attacked others who have promoted me or collaborated with me. For the sake of objectivity and being concise, any hearsay will not be mentioned in this document. Regarding the allegations last year, I've never sexually assaulted anyone. Diesel has implied he doesn't believe I'm some sort of predator in his original video, and the girl involved said I never sexually assaulted her. Something I don't... Okay, but you said you tried to kiss her for 5 minutes while she was trying... I'm going by your word here. We don't even need her to be credible anymore. Something I would also like to mention about this situation is the call that is shown between me and Anne, the girl involved. In this call that was being recorded without my knowledge, Anne starts the conversation talking about the hookup we had, then intentionally changes to an unrelated topic, me picking her up. The actual context of this conversation has been clarified already in the past. On an occasion when we were hanging out, I had picked her up while hugging her. I didn't know this was something she was uncomfortable with. After she asked for me to put her down, we were hanging out, I had picked her up while hugging her. After she asked for me to put her down, she explained she had past trauma related to being lifted up. I had no idea this and apologized. She responded saying, "It's okay, you didn't know. As I've already shown, she confirmed herself on several occasions that I never sexually assaulted her." Diesel's also cast doubt on the girl and these allegations several times in both videos. Well, yeah, but he also goes on to say that it's a he said about himself because you bit the bullet on certain points. You bit the bullet on certain points that made you look really fucking bad. Like you tried to kiss her for 5 minutes while she was saying no. I in no way condone Yandere Dev's behavior. I left the project once I learned the full extent of his actions. For context, I've been a fan of Yandere Simulator since I was 11. In late 2019, when I was 15, I joined the project as a composer/production assistant, slowly working my way up to lead composer. I used to look up to Yandere Dev. We grew close and developed a friendship where I was encouraged to defend him on several occasions. In hindsight, this was probably very inappropriate. Fast forward to September of 2023. These allegations come out. Yandere Dev lied to me, claiming this girl, Anne, had told him she was of legal age. Since I considered Alex a friend and had believed he had been misrepresented in the past, I initially believed him. I regret my behavior in these calls and wish I hadn't jumped to his defense. However, it was hard to cope with the fact that someone I looked up to and saw as a friend had done something so heinous. After leaving, I was required to finish music relating to contractual obligations, hence music being released after my departure. Okay, this is shit relating to... I don't care about any of this because I've already said I don't care. I defended Yandere Dev when he was young. Yeah, this is related to the shit I already said I didn't care about. Admission of a crime to a drama YouTuber. Okay, so this is like incrimination of Yandere Dev. Got it. Did Slug TV call? What does Slug have to do with any of this? What is Slug? Don't tell me Slug is involved in this. Okay, so this is all related to Yandere Dev. Diesel describes that he lied to get information to people, from people. So did I. I don't entirely regret playing nice with. I don't care about the Yandere Dev shit. Simply put, I'm not gonna let something dumb I did at 19, nor a short fling I had as a teenager with a 2.5 year the age gap. The age gap doesn't matter. This is people. Honestly, this is Dicker's fault. This is Dicker's fault. This is FPS Diesel's fault for not clarifying that we don't have an issue with the age gap. You should have been clarifying that from the get-go, so he couldn't do something like this, where he pretends like the whole issue is with the age gap and then easily refutes it. This is Dicker's fault. This is FPS Diesel's fault. But it's funnier if we just all go and blame Dickers. So is he going to claim why he admitted to attempting to forcefully, is he going to, why he attempted to forcefully kiss somebody for over 5 fucking minutes? Or why he didn't outright deny that, like, when he was, like, picking her up and there was other shit happening, why he didn't deny that she was trying to hit him and saying no? He's going to address any of that? Nope. He's going to boil it all down to an issue with the age gap. Or the easily refutable Yandere Dev collaboration, which I don't care about, and you shouldn't either, because he was fucking young. It's like a nothing burger. So there we go. In the court of public opinions, he's just going to get out scot-free. He's not going to talk to anybody who's, like, going to be critical of this. I'd be surprised if he's willing to talk to me and come on my stream. But I'll say it a million times. The problem is not with the age gap. The problem was allegations of forcible, either romantic or sexual interactions. What those are, we've only confirmed the kissing part. I don't know about the other parts, right? The picking up was apparently something else. And then, like, he showed her his, like, bulge in his underwear to be funny. So, yeah, we'll probably do a follow-up on this because there's just so much here. But it's a lot, okay? It's a lot. This probably gives a good introduction to anybody who's unfamiliar with the situation. Everything I've stated about what I believe his intentions are, or what I believe happened, I've prefaced with I believed, because that's my conclusion based on the evidence available to me. If there is more that comes out that changes, I will gladly change my mind and admit that my opinion has changed. But for now, to summarize, I believe he probably got caught up in what was initially a consensual act, was unable to stop himself, and has repeatedly, like, lied to try and negate any piece of criticism, even if the criticism isn't really good criticism. He's repeatedly tried to lie to negate that and neutralize the threat because it believes it will, like, impact a rise to fame that he has so desperately wanted his entire life. I was asleep. Who are we talking about? The fucking stream's over. It's been 4 hours. I haven't taken a single break. Okay? It's over. The stream's over. I'm not... You know what? Let me just start from the beginning. Let's just go rewind from the beginning. Okay? Let's go through the entire situation all over again. Great idea. No, it's done. We're done. We're done here. Okay? It's all over. Let's do a recap. So true. And then, by the way, if anybody, I'm confident, okay? That's why I was so cancer with chat tonight. I want this to be turned into a video. We're going to turn this into a video. So if anybody, for payment, of course, would like to edit this video and can do it in like a day, I don't really need you to do a whole lot. You can use Premiere Pro. Message me on Discord. You have my Discord. The link is in the description. I missed it. Can you watch the whole video again, please? How about no? Oh, thank you. I forgot to demod Chronic. Chronic's been doing some very troubling things lately, people. Very troubling things. I hate you. Thank you so much for the 199. You do what we say, Aiden. True. Alright, well. Why do you always copy Queeman? Very true. I've been falsely accused. Very good stuff, buddy. Good stuff. I don't care. Alright, well, I was happy with tonight's stream. It wasn't my longest stream, but I think we did good. Someone posed as you and made false allegations? True. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like on your way out. Make sure to sub. I'll be with you here tomorrow night. I don't know if there will be a stream on Sunday. I've got a few more weeks where I'm like, I really got to lock in. So I'm probably only going to be doing 3 to 4 streams a week for like the next 3 weeks or so. Then we're going daily for a few weeks. We'll actually be going daily for a few weeks. So that's the plan going forward. Have a good night, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow for something. I don't know. Go link a topic. I don't know yet.